Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 2 o'clock on a lovely, what a beautiful Friday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. The Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. $70 million tonight in Lotto Max and 10 Max Millions. Woo, baby. You're in a good mood now. Oilers are on to the second round. You'd probably be in a better mood. Think about, you would probably have a lot of watch parties. You win that lottery. You'd be like, you know what? Hey, whatever. We're buying, how many buddies you got? We'll buy a section of seats for the rest of the playoffs. No big deal. Easy. Because when you got that much money, then you're just looking for, I would assume, experiences, I would guess. And it was an experience last night. Downtown Edmonton. What a wild, wild start to that game. That's what's so fun about sports is you can go from a game as precise as the Oilers were defensively on Tuesday night, like a clinical performance. LA didn't have much at all. And then you fast forward 48 hours later, and it is absolute chaos to start the game. Quentin Byfield, $119, scores. Adam Henrique, 304, ties it up. 33 seconds later, Brant Clark makes it 2-1 Kings. And then 2 minutes, 22 seconds later, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 2-2. And I'm telling you, like the building was absolutely rocking up and down. It's just great. Oh my God, we're losing. Now we're tied. Now we're losing. Now we're tied. And then Zach Hyman puts the Oilers in front, and they didn't look back. Darnell Nurse scores a massive goal late in the second period to give him a little bit of life. Then Trent Frederick, only a minute and 36 seconds later, scores his first. And suddenly, all the people who were freaking out about giving up a second rounder for Trent Frederick are like, oh, Jesus, this guy's not bad. That's what the playoffs does. It gets you emotionally engaged, right? Think about it. Calvin Pickard, and some people's, you could mount a statue of Calvin Pickard right now. Oilers fans are loving it. It's a great story. It's an unbelievable story of a guy, perseverance, keeps battling, keeps playing great, and he wins games, right? He's winning games. And I like his attitude. Hey, my job is to just have a better save percentage, allow one less goal than the other guy. He's got an .893 save percentage and a 2 what is his I think he's got a 2.93 goals against average, right? And people are like, oh my God, I love Pickard. This is unreal. He's playing great. Stuart Skinner had a .901 save percentage after his two brutal games last year in the playoffs and a 2.45. And they're like, well, Skinner's not good enough. Can't win with him. Right? That's what emotion will do to you. You block out what you don't want when your team wins. That's what I always said. The Oilers aren't built for their goalie to have to stand on his head. He made some good saves, right? Full goal breakaway. Pretty big save, right? Had the one pad stop. And I love Pickard. He's like, yeah, you know what? Probably wanted the second goal back. The Brant Clark shot. I think we'd all agree. But Pickard, you know what he's doing? He's playing, well, not necessarily better than Kemper in game 5, but in the other games, I thought he was. In game 3 and 4, I would say Pickard was better. He didn't allow any weak goal. Made a few key stops. Wasn't called upon to have to be out of this world. Like Kemper was out of this world and his team still lost. Right? That's like ruin it. When you look at the games when Skinner was out of his mind, the Oilers actually won. So being great and losing, it's like a guy scoring 5 points and you lose 6-5. At the end of the day, in the playoffs, all that matters is you win. Save percentage, meh. Really, like, it doesn't matter. Someone said, yeah, but Kemper, look, he still saved more goals above expected. It's all because of one game. Did anybody watch? Look at, like, game 5 for Kemper was so good. Over the series, it'll give you the average and say, hey, the Oilers scored this many goals, and Kemper's, I think Mike Kelly had it goals saved above expected. Yeah, he was like ended up being like +1 or +2. Sure. But that all came because he was like +8 in one game, right? You can only get one win at a time. So if in the other 5 starts, you're -6, it's not good enough. Being +8 in a loss means a whole lot of nothing at the end of the day. Like, Kemper's good. You don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. And all you want from the Oilers goaltending is, you know what? You allow a goal that you don't like against Brant Clark, then you make a save or two that's big, it evens out. That's how I look at it. Evens out. And Edmonton, there might be a game later in the playoffs where they're going to need a goalie to stand on his head. Whether it's Pickard, maybe it's Skinner, who knows? That'll probably have to happen. I think it's probably realistic. It'll happen. But when Kemper stood on his head, he wasn't able to win the game. So by then, it kind of doesn't really matter. And the advantage that the Oilers goaltenders have is that on a night when they're going to stand on their head, more often than not, their team will score. Right now, obviously they won 1-0 last year. They won another game 2-1. So you don't score a lot, but usually they'll score. And the Oilers scored a lot against a Vezina Trophy nominee, against a team that was pretty good defensively all year. They murdered them. And now they're going to have the weekend to relax. Today was a day off. They'll be back on the ice tomorrow. Their series against Vegas is going to start either Monday or Tuesday, and it's depending on a lot of other factors. Who wins out of Colorado or Dallas? That'll probably be a factor, because you got to remember, it's not just, when they look at these series, it's not just Sportsnet. Now there's ESPN. They have a big say. Now remember, ESPN also covers the NBA. So does that impact it? I don't know 100%, but I would think it might. Right? Then there's the factor of, okay, does Winnipeg win? Well, now we've got 3 Canadian teams of the 4 series. So you'll probably have 2 on one night. Do you want Toronto and Edmonton on the same night, or do you want Toronto and Edmonton on different nights? I would think you'd want Toronto and Edmonton on different nights, because Edmonton, A, it's a bigger market than Winnipeg just on its own. But then B, because you have McDavid and Draisaitl, there's lots of other fans across the country like, well, I want to watch that team. Right? Like the Winnipeg Jets don't draw as much. Now, if you had McDavid in Winnipeg, different story. So I'm not ripping on Winnipeg. I'm just going off the facts here. Bigger market, and you have 2 of the biggest stars in the NHL. That's going to matter. So I'm guessing Sportsnet would say we want Toronto one night, Edmonton the other night. And Winnipeg is going to be the late game every night with Toronto. It's great, but that's what I would guess. I could be wrong. So there's lots of factors. You don't know. What if the Jets and they lose tonight? So now there's a game 7 on Sunday. Well, that means they can't play until Tuesday at the earliest. And that happens lots. You win in 7 games, you play 2 days later. That's what's great about the playoffs, man. You don't win in 7 and then get 3 extra 4 days off. It's not how it works. And if, let's say, Winnipeg wins tonight, then I think we could see even a Carolina-Washington series start on Sunday, because the NHL will want to not be dark on a Sunday if they can avoid it. So there's lots of factors that go into it, but I do know for certain they're going to play Monday or Tuesday night. We won't know. We probably won't know probably until after the Dallas-Colorado game, realistically. Right? And then, again, there's the wild card, which I don't know. I'm looking in the air and saying, hey, ESPN has NBA. They've got NHL. Does that factor into some equations? Maybe. Now, the Lakers are out, and we've got the Denver Nuggets and the Clippers. They're going to game 7, and those are both, on the West Coast. And so I think those games could potentially impact the scheduling. You also have Golden State and Houston, right? So that could be a factor. Maybe. I don't know how much, though. Like, that might just be a smaller one. Maybe it's none. But you have to look at TV to understand. TV pays big money. They have a big say. Hey, Gregor, any chance the Oilers can get home ice advantage in the playoffs? Yep. There's a few ways. Number one, in the Stanley Cup final, if they faced Carolina, they would have home ice advantage against Carolina. They would also, if I'm not mistaken, I think they had more points in Florida. Let me double check. Yeah, they had more points in Florida too. And now, obviously, if St. Louis upsets Winnipeg and then upsets the winner of Dallas and Colorado, they would have home ice there. They don't have home ice against Vegas. They wouldn't have home ice if Dallas or Colorado make it out of the Central. They wouldn't have home ice in the Cup final against Washington, against Toronto, and that's it. Those are the only two East teams, Toronto and Washington. So if Florida or Carolina are in the Cup final and the Oilers are in the Cup final, they'll actually have home ice advantage this year in the Cup final. So we'll see. Because teams ahead of them, Tampa, out. LA, out. One of Colorado and Dallas will be out. So there you go. Yes, there is a chance the Oilers could have a home ice advantage. I guess as early as the third round, if the St. Louis Blues can go on a little bit of a Cinderella run, we will see. Also, and Cons, I'm going to do it today. It's a little bit of everybody was freaking out about the Oilers, and remember at the start of the playoffs, like, well, last year's team had way more depth than this year's team. And I was like, well, wait a sec, guys. And I went off of the actual goals scored last year between Fogle and Holloway and McLeod. And then I compared it to Skinner, Arvidsson, and Podkolzin. And guess what? Skinner, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson actually had more goals than those other three guys. Now, Dylan Holloway obviously didn't play as much, and then he scored in the postseason. Good. Played very well. But Connor Brown didn't play in the first round last year. Evander Kane banged up, but he did play. Trent Frederick wasn't here. Arvidsson wasn't here. Podkolzin wasn't here. And look at the Oilers' depth right now. They just won they won their third and fourth game of the playoffs. Games 5 and 6 of the series. They scored 6 goals, 5-on-5. Anytime you average 3 goals a game, 5-on-5, you're pretty excited. Okay? A lot of teams aren't even over 2 goals a game. Like let's look. I'll pull it up. I'm going to go back to the regular season 5-on-5 scoring. Okay? 5-on-5 in the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers in the regular season had 169. So just above 2 a game. No team had 3 goals a game. The highest was the Columbus Blue Jackets. They had 201 goals in 82 games. So not even 2.5. It's around 2.4, give or take. So the last 2 games, the Oilers score 6 goals, 5-on-5. 6 different goal scorers. 12 players had at least 1 point, 5-on-5. 7 of them had 2. Here's the list of guys who didn't have a point, 5-on-5, in the last 2 games for the Edmonton Oilers. Ty Emberson. Jake Wallman, which you'd understand. Evan Bouchard. Pretty important player to your team. Corey Perry. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. So your top line, because Perry was playing a lot with Draisaitl and McDavid, your best offensive defenseman, and then 2 other D-men. Those are the guys who didn't have points. And oh, by the way, you won both games. Think about how massive that is for the Oilers to look and say, because right now, look at their forward group. Do you know how many guys, Connor, amongst the Oilers' 12 forwards have never scored of the 12 who dressed last night? I'm not even including Jeff Skinner. He's in the press box. Of the 12 forwards who were dressed last night, how many of them had less than 18 goals in a season? 6. 1. Podkolzin, 14. Trent Fredericks had 18. Matthias Janmark's had 19. Connor Brown's had 20-goal seasons. Adam Henriquez had 8 20-goal seasons. Evander Kane has had, I think, 7. Obviously, Draisaitl, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Zach Hyman go down the list. Like, they got offense. Offense is not the Oilers' problem. They can score. And even when their big guns are kind of getting slowed down, and not being, dominant, which is okay. 5-on-5, the Oilers still scored 6 goals, 5-on-5 in 2 games. Right? Pretty impressive. Now, they're going to have to reduce their goals against, no question, at some point. Because the Oilers scored the most goals in the first round. They allowed the most goals. Actually, second most goals in the first round because obviously LA allowed the most. So it was highly entertaining. And I was all for it. We see a lot of low-scoring games, man. And game 5 was low scoring. It was a 2-1 game with an empty netter, but it's still pretty entertaining. And now the series, as we get set, and we're going to talk a lot about it today, the Vegas Golden Knights, be ready for a completely different series. They play very different. This is going to be, you're like, think about it. Did you really hate anyone? Did you ever have your ire really high against any LA King player in that series? Like Mikey Anderson didn't annoy anyone. Edmonton didn't. Like there wasn't really one level of animosity in that series. Like Brant Clark might have been the one guy with the shot on Evander Kane from behind into the net. Anything else? Not really. But I'm telling you, Vegas plays harder. But guess what? The Edmonton Oilers, they can play a physical game. They out-hit LA, no problem. But you want to go in the trenches, Trent Frederick's like, sign me up. Corey Perry, you betcha. Evander Kane, frothing at the mouth. Yeah. Podkolzin, no problem. They got enough guys that can do that. Also, the penalty kill of Vegas is very different. The Kings would press you all over. The Oilers did a pretty good job adapting and to get to the openings and make them pay. And they did. But Vegas is, you watch. Vegas, those guys, they block shots like it's going out of style, man. They love it. They live for it. They are shot blockers extraordinaire. And they will funnel down to the middle. So the Oilers are going to have to attack totally different on the power play as well. But Vegas, they gave up a lot of chances to Minnesota. So Edmonton, I think, is going to get their chances. Now, maybe Vegas will play different because they're like, okay, now as good as Kaprizov and Boldy are, they're not McDavid and Draisaitl. So we'll get to all of that today on the program. It's the loaded Friday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Stuart Johnson, the commish of the CFL, will join us. We got Livingston, Craig Button. I know many of you are like, what's Butts going to say? He picked LA. Hey, he's not the only one. NHL.com, 13 of 16 writers picked the Kings. Wrong. What about Sportsnet? I think they had 13 out of 16 or 12 out of 15 who picked LA. Like, I was stunned how many people picked LA, like confidently thinking the Oilers were done. So, hey, well, that might change next round. We'll see. Maybe not. But Oilers fans, you should feel good. Your team played well. Full marks for the win. And the games, for the most part, even the games you lost, they were not short in excitement, right? A miraculous comeback in game 1. Obviously got cut short when Danault scored in less than a minute to go. Game 2 might have been the only one where you're like, man, that wasn't a great game. Fair point. That was the Oilers' worst game of the series for sure. 833-401-1440. Cons, is there anybody that you would put on the hate list for the Kings?
I mean, maybe Matterson just from the past and then kind of running into Kyle Pickard there. But this season, no, there was nobody that really frustrated you. Maybe like out of skill. But like, damn, Kempe is really good.
Yeah.
But not for being a jerk.
No, you're just like, I respect the guy who can score. Sucks. Yeah. But there wasn't a lot of animosity in that series. But I'm telling you, brace yourself. It's coming. Oilers in Vegas, second time in 3 years. They anytime a team like now the Kings, they just can't beat the Oilers. I'm sorry, you lose 4 times in a row and you do the exact same thing. Oh my God. It was embarrassing that they're like, hey, let's see if we can not forecheck and beat them again. Well, did we forecheck last year? No, we didn't. Did we win? No. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, let's try it the third time. It's the definition of insanity. Absolute insanity, I tell you.
Quickly, Gregor, the Oilers signing Alec Regula, 2-year extension.
Well, there you go. Alec Regula, you know what? Good for him. And the Oilers, you know what? They got a guy off for free from waivers and didn't have to now he didn't get to play. But we'll see. Like, does he fit in the mix next year? He'll come to camp and he'll probably compete with Emberson, right? To see, and Stetcher, because he's under contract. It's not going to be easy. So see where he goes. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Spring style and road-ready performance are more affordable than ever. Now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease or finance a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save up to $5,000. Lease a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 4.9%.
Garage is the ultimate destination for everything garage, storage solutions, cabinets, vehicle hoists, accessories, and even Traeger grills. Visit our massive 8,000 square foot showroom at Calgary Trail and 34th Ave or online at garagesuperstore.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.225. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. But if you'd like to dabble, make sure to use your game sense. Go to GameSenseAB.ca and find out how to stay within your limits. Quick one. Hey, Gregor, why didn't the concussion spotter at least have Kemper evaluated after the Albertson rush where he seemed groggy upon his return to his feet? From Jeff. Well, you can't just have him evaluated. He's either out or he stays in the game. I don't think he was groggy at all. He might have done a little bit of job to sell it, but not every collision with the goalie means you're going to go to the concussion spotter. I thought it was the right non-call as far as sending him there. I get it. The emotions are high in the playoffs. You're like, oh my God, but you know what? I get why it's a penalty. I understand it. You know, you come right through the crease untouched. No one's pushing you in there. You can't just hammer the goalie. Right? Especially in his crease. Like, you can go to the net, but you can't hammer the goalie. So I had no problem with it. and we'll see where it goes. Hey, guys, great to hear him talk about Regula. I like it. It's good for Bakersfield, if nothing else, from Dart 2. Well, Dart 2, keep in mind, though, he would require waivers. And now any team who claims him, especially if he's healthy, then would have to put him on their NHL roster. So, you know what? Boston thought they'd get him through. He was banged up. It didn't work. I think they're all hoping that he'll be fully healthy next year, and we'll see how it goes. Like, I have no idea, man, how good potentially he can be or not. I know I talked to Stan Bowman about him. He quite likes him, but I just look at the Oilers depth chart. Like, look at all the guys they got coming back next year. Now, maybe he'll move some in between now and then, but he's going to be hard-pressed to make the team. Maybe he does. I hope he does, but he'll be hard-pressed for sure. It's never a bad thing to have depth, but when you got a younger guy like that, you know what, maybe a team's like, hey, we'll take a shot on him on the waiver wire, but sometimes you can slide him through, earlier in preseason where other teams like, well, we might have an Alex Regula on our lineup anyway. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Stop in at Canada's #1 Volvo dealership in new car sales this weekend. It's sunny out. Stop in, say hi to Jordy. You want to test drive an XC90? You can lease one, an XC90 plug-in hybrid for 1.49% and save an additional $5,000 at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Pre- and post-game host from Sports 1440, Andrew Walker, joins us. And Andrew, the great part about the playoffs is it's unpredictable. The Oilers have 5 periods of unreal defensive play, and then it's absolute fire wagon hockey, back and forth, chance after chance, and really didn't let up. Like that was not a defensive game, and it just, Edmonton can win in a lot of different ways with their team. And the last 2 games showed that even when their big dogs aren't scoring 5-on-5, the Oilers can still produce.
Yeah, that was a fun night last night, and it was a crazy series. Like Oilers have played the Kings 4 years in a row. That was the craziest of all 4. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a lot more heightened range of emotions. Like you look at game 1, the Oilers getting killed, and then they have an unreal third period and
huge swings.
Yeah. The only game that didn't have it was maybe game 2, but the other ones definitely had lots of them. And what do you think about Jim Hiller and the LA Kings when they look back on this series? And the challenge is one thing. I think maybe they challenged because they thought their penalty kill could kill the power play. I don't know, but I didn't love that challenge because I didn't think there was anything there. And then, when you look at how Brandt Clark and Jordan Spence played last night, don't you wonder, why the hell didn't you play those guys more minutes earlier in the series?
Yeah, 100%. And I thought there was a lot of hubris built in, to be honest. With the way what have the Kings earned to feel that confident about themselves, in the sense of, we're going to just play our game. And yeah, they won the first 2 games. They were better than the Oilers in the regular season, all that. And I thought that there was just, a little bit of inflexibility, I guess, on Jim Hiller's part. And as they were making their push yesterday, I was laughing out loud. It's like the Kings are activating their defense for the first time in 4 years. And they decided to do it in an elimination game, right? And Clark scores and Jordan Spence scores. And listen, the Oilers are not some, they have the ability to, in certain phases to win a 2-1 game and whatever. But the Oilers are not, the mid 90s, early 2000s New Jersey Devils. Like you can generate chances, and the Kings being stubborn by not activating their D and, not playing depth and not forechecking. I mean, this was the Kings' year to beat the Oilers, and they gave them the series. And the Oilers only needed a small sliver and the ability to kind of get back to their comfort level and get a little confidence going. And once they did, it was over. Like last night, to me, it was a very entertaining game, but at no point did I ever feel worried. I felt when Nuge tied the game at 2, so LA came out, they gave you 2 good punches, and Brown snapped back. I guess it was off Henrique, and then Nuge and Hopkins snapped back in the power play. To me, that was it. Like the Kings looked a little demoralized. They made their push a little later on, but they knew they were losing, and there was a few turning moments in this series where the Kings just they gave it to the Oilers, and they knew they weren't getting it back.
Andrew Walker joins us. Walks is Captain Obvious. Pickard's starting game 1 against Vegas. Like, this really isn't a discussion, is it?
No, I don't think so. It has to be Pickard in game 1. But, there's this idea. The one idea I don't necessarily totally agree with is, it's Pickard's until he loses. And wins and losses are important. But if you notice that Pickard's getting a little tired or has an off game, and it doesn't matter if he wins, I'm not afraid to put Stuart Skinner back in net. Game 1 has to be Pickard's, but it's not. It's we're riding you into until you lose. I don't necessarily agree with that. A lot of teams use 2 goalies, right? And it's not an indictment of your goaltending if you use 2 goalies. And we're gonna see, I would guess, Stuart Skinner back in the net at some point. But this is truly, I'll put it this way, it's truly a 1A, 1B. It's not Skinner's team with Pickard backing up. But I would think it's definitely Pickard for game number 1, but I would not be surprised to see Skinner at some point.
Yes.
Fatigue has to play in, right?
Yeah, I think at some point you'll see Stuart Skinner play, and that's okay. Lots of teams have gone with 2 different goaltenders at times. It's just I won't be surprised, Walks, to see Troy Stetcher and John Klingberg, the perfect matchup for him, right? You give him time and space, or a team that doesn't forecheck is going to make you pay. Now, Vegas plays a totally different style. They will forecheck the hell out of you, and I won't be surprised to see Troy Stetcher and Klingberg, and maybe, Emerson, those 3 kind of rotating in and out in the next series.
We saw this in the Dallas series last year, right? Everyone raved about the Stars' depth, except they didn't use it. It's well, great. You got some great players sitting in the press box. Are you ever going to use them? The Oilers have proven they have depth. It's only depth if you use it, right? We got, an excellent number 7, number 8. Well, it's only worth it if those guys are getting in the lineup, right? So yeah, I'm with you. I think you look at matchups. I think Klingberg did a heck of a job this series, which was kind of came out of nowhere. I was pretty convinced late in the year that Klingberg had probably played his last game for the Oilers, and then he had a great series. But yeah, listen, Troy Stetcher plays a different type of game. I'm not afraid to put him in. Ekholm's doubtful for round 2, of course, but who knows? Maybe he could make things interesting in the conference final. But yeah, it's only depth if you use it.
Well, the Oilers are going to use their depth. That being said, I look at their forward depth, and there's nobody I'm taking out of the lineup unless they're injured. The way they played in the first round.
No, I would agree. Kapanen does have the attributes where he could come in and play a hard game for you in the playoffs. I don't mind that. But yeah, there's no one I'm taking out, and I'm very hesitant to put Jeff Skinner in. Ever. It would have to be, you're down in the series and you've scored 1 goal in 3 games or something like that. But yeah, no, this lineup is, man, they are rolling, more so than they have at any point this season. And, we did 82 post-game shows, and the biggest complaint always was, man, where's the depth scoring? Sometimes it felt like it was literally only Draisaitl scoring on this team. He carried them through different stretches of the year. Corey Perry had a great year. Even McDavid was basically 70% of his usual point production, right? It was Draisaitl and not a whole heck of a lot else. This series, man, it was everybody scored. Like Henrique got on the board. Connor Brown had a great series. Kane scores a couple. Frederick Janmark scores 2. Are you kidding me? Nurse gets on the board. Klingberg makes big plays. The depth was there, and it wasn't there all year. So, talk about flipping a switch. It was impressive to watch.
Well, it helps when you get 2 guys that weren't there all year in Kane and Frederick, who I think add not just some skill, but they add some size and some physicality, and everybody plays a little bit better. And, Connor Brown, now 2 goals were empty netters, but still, Connor Brown, yesterday, he was an absolute force. And Connor McDavid said after the game, I think that was his best game as an Oiler, and it's hard to argue.
He was out of his skull yesterday.
Yeah. He's a very quick player, and you sure noticed that their last game. And, now you look at Vegas. So, what do you like? This is going to be a completely different series. That's what's great about the matchups. Vegas forechecks way harder. They're bigger. But you look at the numbers of Adin Hill and, the numbers of up until game 6, and maybe it changed, but heading into game 6, the expected goal save percentage in Vegas was the worst in the NHL at .864. They were giving up that much, and Adin Hill was still under 900, but he was still above it. they gave Minnesota a ton of chances. And, they did close down in the last game, and they got Stone and they got Eichel going, which is good for them. But what do you make of this matchup, Edmonton-Vegas?
I agree with you. I think that the Oilers are going to get their chances. I think that it's totally separate. But listen, they're ready for it. They played Vegas a ton. Obviously, they're the same division. They played them 2 years ago. Vegas is going to forecheck, right? They're going to be on you. They're heavier, and that's where they will miss Ekholm. There's no doubt. But the Oilers can forecheck, also, right? They got 4 lines that are going right now. It's not going to be an easy series. I do like Aiden Hill a lot, but I think the Oilers have proven in the last 4 years there's just not a goalie that you're scared of, right? They like Darcy Kemper's up for the Vezina. They made him look incredibly average. Bobrovsky goalied him in 1 game, but Ottinger didn't worry him. The Canucks netminders, that's obvious. They didn't worry him. They perforated Markstrom. They've scored on everybody that the Kings have thrown their way, in the playoffs the last 4 years. So I like Aiden Hill, but I just, your job as an Oilers goalie is just to keep your team in it. I never worry that they're going to get goalied by anyone, but it's going to be, Vegas plays, they're deep. They, Howden and guys like Kolasar, and they will, they will forecheck you. And obviously a top 3 of Hannafin, Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, these guys can all move. White Cloud, he can move. And the Kings, midway through this series, they just got exhausted, right? So the last couple of games for the Oilers were, to be quite honest, they were pretty easy. Like starting in the overtime of Game 4, the rest of the series was pretty easy for the Edmonton Oilers.
Walks, get some rest. We will be tuning into the post-game show because no games on the weekend. Oilers are going to start either Monday or Tuesday. We probably won't know until Saturday's game after Dallas and Colorado. Maybe have an inkling if Winnipeg wins tonight, but might not know until Saturday. So guaranteed, though, either no games on the weekend because there's the fight in Vegas on Sunday. So it's either going to be Monday or Tuesday.
That's awesome. Whole another series, and we'll be down we're at Smoke Barbecue and Bar down there in the Ice District the entire way for pregame and postgame. So, listen, I've watched all the games there and the arena obviously for the home games, but it's a great spot to be, and you want to get those playoff vibes right now that it's sunny. So,
yeah, awesome. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too, Gregs.
There you go. That's Andrew Walker. We are live. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got the new commissioner of the CFL, Stuart Johnson, is going to join us after 3:00. Of course, Button's coming up later. We'll have some fun with the old CB and Spec. Mean Gene Principe is here. How much beer did he get spilled on him in the pit last night? And you know what? Like, I see it and I respect it, but I'm also like, and do you know how much beer is right now? And the young kids, like, I can't afford a house, but I'm just throwing away $15 beers. Like, no big deal. What is happening? You got to, that stuff should be gold. You want to throw your water away? Okay, maybe. You throwing beers in there? Like, yowzer. Every goal celebration, like, look how many beers are getting spilled. Got to get that lid on that bad boy. Like, throw your hat, whatever, but it's tough. Take a break. We got a lot of texts flying in. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Your partner in power since 1975. For all your electrical gear, EWEL.ca.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular price. The works, the meats. Pick your favorite specialty pizza and get even more delicious Papa John's to enjoy. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what?
Dang.
They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference.
Yes.
FittedGolf.ca.
Thursday, May 8th is McHappy Day, when every menu item purchased at McDonald's helps support families with sick children. So you can feel the good that comes from doing good, just from ordering.
So if I order a Big Mac, I'm helping.
Yup.
What about a McFlurry? 10-piece chicken McNuggets and apple pie?
You got it. Every single order helps. Join us at McDonald's for McHappy Day on Thursday, May 8th. Do good, feel good. A portion of food and beverage sales will support RMHC chapters and local children's charities across Canada.
Horses of the Sour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2.42. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram on a lovely positive Friday. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, another chance for you to qualify for Here Comes the Sun. Oh, baby. Is that ever fitting today? Beautiful day out, 25 degrees. Going to be 26 tomorrow. I love it. And you'll be loving a $15,000 solar system on your home. You have a chance to qualify to win that. So tune in today in the 4 o'clock hour. Let's get to our, I like to call it kind of the coaching report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay warm all winter, but more importantly, cold all summer. LegacyHeating.ca. Lorianne Muenzer, Olympic gold medalist. Also, she is a mental coach. Joins us once again, as she always does on Fridays. Lorianne, how you doing?
Hey, doing awesome. Coming in live from Toronto.
Oh, geez. People are exhaling there because, man, you could have been a psychologist had they lost last night.
I know. This has been pretty crazy. There's been like a sea of blue and just everybody's walking around. I've seen a couple Oilers jerseys, and I don't know. I think the guys are on a really good run again.
Lorianne, it's interesting what we've talked lots about, the riding the wave and trying not to get caught up in it. And, Connor McDavid's talked about it, that, the biggest thing they learned from Duncan Keith was how to kind of stay even keel. And doesn't mean you do it all the time. You just look at the last 2 games, unbelievable defensive effort. Then it's complete shinny hockey in game 6. How do you learn, so until you actually experience the high, because you can talk to yourself all day long. Okay, don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. I think it's got to be way harder to actually not get too excited than to say, just not get excited. How do you eventually learn not to get too caught up, or do you get caught up and just don't let it impact you? How do you go about it mentally?
Oh, I've seen all kinds of stuff. And number one is I've seen where athletes get caught up and they just totally blow the bank. They just tank. And I think that's something that almost every athlete has to go through, because if you don't have that experience, Jason, how do you know what the max is or what too much is? And hopefully you do it in not an important game, and then you've got it, boom, you get it out. You always have that memory of it, that experience of it, and you've just got to go, okay, if you've never ever done it because you're just maybe going in a little too low, then ramping it up is the opposite way of going into it. And it's just, okay, if you don't win, you've got to reframe the failure. If you're winning, celebrate the win and then do the complete reset. Because if you keep on that high of the win, it's going to bite you on the next game or the second game out of the chute. And it's something everybody has to go through. They deal with it a little bit different. Everybody performs under preparation and pressure different. You can do all of the preparation, but you got to experience it. And you also have to embrace the moments. Like if it's playing a total defensive game, go for it. If you're playing that shinny hockey and you're scrapping it out, tap into the veterans. Grab the new guys and say, hey, where do you need a little help? You know, is it nervous? Is it excitement? Is it a combination of both? And it's a combination of both that is a good package. It's a good duo. If you're one extreme to the other, it can eat you alive and suck the game right out of you.
Yeah, well, and it is funny because it's a fine line. Do you believe you have to experience that super heightened emotion to really know how to control it the first time? Or I guess not the first time, but afterwards.
Yep, absolutely. Everybody has to go through it at least once. And some athletes go through it multiple times because they literally, I call it the drunken monkey on acid mind, because your mind will run away with you on it. And if you let it go and control you, you're done. And it will get away on you. And it's just, you gotta take the reins, and it's a super fine line. That's why rituals are so important. Focusing on what can you control, what's out of my control, what don't I even need to worry about or even focus on. What can I regulate? And a lot of times I work with my athletes on box breathing. So if you picture a box, there's a sequence of inhaling, holding the breath, exhaling, holding the breath again. And you can work with different combinations like 4 inhale, hold, exhale, hold, or you could do 4 inhale, hold a little longer, like 6 seconds or 7 seconds. And each athlete, again, is going to be a little bit different. So you got to work with also their lung capacity of how long can they focus, how long can they hold. Do you mix it up to give them a challenge, but then also bring them back to, normal and just, okay, let's regulate it. Let's regulate it so that it becomes automatic. And there's different pressures that they'll simulate in training. And then when they're on the ice, hopefully they've gone through this a number of times that they know when to pull out and go, okay, I've got to slow down my breathing, or I've got to ramp it up a little bit, because there too, Jason, is a bit of a fine line as well. And it's just one little switch or shift is either going to blow the bank or it's going to just accelerate your performance.
Lorianne Muenzer joins us. So we've had text coming in, but you want to get prepared for your first time as an athlete, really at any level of hey, how do I think I'm going to handle the pressure, right? Because you know what? You don't want it to be, I don't know if it's called a waste or not, but you get into the playoffs the first time. And now some would say, you know what? It's very rare to get in your first time as a team or an individual and have great success. And for the most part, that's true. There's been some exceptions. Jake Gensel would be one. The Penguins won the Cup the year before. He then joined the team halfway through the year as a rookie and had a hell of a year, had a bunch of experienced guys to lean on. So obviously there's situations to do it. But do you believe that a team can learn how to win in the moment without having to learn how to win by losing?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's what you're going to start to see, is because it's like there was that slow start, and learning how to win in the moment there's an energy with it, Jason, that just it's instantaneous, and it's just, look at the start of the game, right? The Kings scored, then Oilers, and then the Kings and the Oilers, and it's like, oh my God, which way is it going to go? And that's when the energy shifts and change. And I believe that this team, number one, I've said it before, they're coming in as an underdog. The first 2 games were proof of it. And it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's just, they start to get the fire under their skates, and it's being in the moment versus trying to do and make it happen, where I see them struggle, where being in the moment is just the number one thing, where they start to feed truly off of each other, and it's like that momentum, and then it just picks up. It's performing under the spotlight. I think they like the pressure cooker situation. Not sure why exactly or how come, but sometimes it's just the way that it is, and sometimes it just happens.
Lori-Ann Muenzer joins us. The mental, well, of the pressure of the playoffs or the excitement, 2 ways to look at it. Like Jake Wallman, who was interesting to ask Jake, it's really his first playoff experience. He did play 1 game for St. Louis a few years ago. But what he said to me was one of the greatest answers I've had in a long time. And hey, man, how you having? I asked him, so he's like, yeah, I'm having fun. I said, so what's been your most favorite part of the playoffs thus far? And this was before they won the series. I just want to make this clear to everybody. This was before Game 6. He said to me, you know what? I like how every goal we celebrate, like it's a Stanley Cup winning goal, every goal. And when I think about it, that's how kids celebrate in U9 and U11. Now, unless you get to a blowout and, then your coach say, okay, guys, we're up 10-1. We don't go crazy. But you can be 3-1, 4-2, and kids celebrate every goal. They're down on their knee. They got the celebration. And it was a very interesting one. It kind of reminded me, like, at times it's a job being in the NHL, but the playoffs, despite all the pressure, it seems like a lot of the players have more fun because they're going back to just, the simplest thing of every goal you celebrate like you're a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the spirit of sport, right? It's just being in the spirit and going back to being a kid. Like, you're playing on the street. I remember the street that I used to play on, Jane and Dundas in the West End of Toronto. And it's just like a car comes by and everybody else car. And you're just playing your heart and your guts and your lungs and your legs out. And it's just like you score. And honest to goodness, you would think like the Stanley Cup is won. And that's the spirit. Like we've talked about the games leading up to the Stanley Cup and the playoff games. You should still, in my mind, be playing them out just like that, because that is perfect preparation for what it's going to come down to when you're in crunch time and you are in the playoffs. And it's just that element of fun. Sometimes we forget as we get older, as we get adults, and we just, it's a job, it's a grind. And yeah, sometimes we got to work really hard. But when you bring that element of fun back into it, it's going back to being a kid again, and you're playing for the love of the game. And that's why we play sports.
Yeah, it's fair. Lori-Ann, great stuff. Enjoy Toronto, and we'll talk to you again next week.
You betcha. Take care. Have a good weekend.
It's Lori-Ann Muenzer. And it was a fascinating response from Jake Wallman. And it's just like, man, it's so great. Like every goal we celebrate, and you watch it, like you get fired up. And because I know sometimes, and I've seen it, oh, you know what? Little Bobby's celebrating too much. I'm like, we're playing U9 hockey. We're playing U11. I don't care. You're playing U15. It's a hockey game. Now, I understand if it's a blowout and it's 9-1, you don't need to be skating by the bench, riding your stick. I get it. So you can teach kids there is something called sportsmanship. But I don't, if it's 3 or 4-0, you can. In minor hockey, a 3-goal lead is far from a lock. Okay, far from a lock. Ask any coach out there. You think you're coaching your, like, I hope you're not coaching your kids to sit back in minor hockey, for goodness sakes, right? And even when you do, it's not like a lot of them are defensive stalwarts at a young age. But I love that he's just like, you kind of bring the fun back, man. And every game, every goal, you're on the bench and look at him. Watch the bench. Watch the crowds. Right? Like, look at, for you adults, you're in the crowd, you're at home with your family. Look at how much more you're celebrating. It makes the game more fun. And ultimately, that's what sports is about and should always be about. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. They're taking flight with their legendary new Dragon Fruit lineup, introducing the Dragon Slaya Smoothie, the Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and the Dragon Booster Ball. Conquer your cravings by stopping into your local Booster Juice today.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers have signed defenseman Alec Regula to a 2-year, 2A contract. 24-year-old was claimed off waivers from the Bruins back in December. On the ice tonight, just one game. Blues Devils meeting down in St. Louis. The Blues Jets puck drop just after 6. Winnipeg leads that series 3-2. Stars Avs tomorrow at 6. That'll be game 7. The New York Rangers have found their man as they announced the hiring of Mike Sullivan as the 38th head coach in franchise history. Sullivan, 57, mutually parted ways with the Penguins on Monday after 10 seasons. In the association, just one game tonight at 7 o'clock. It's the Warriors and Rockets meeting in San Fran. Golden State leads that series 3-2. Basketball Hall of Famer Greg Popovich will no longer coach the San Antonio Spurs as he's transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. Mitch Johnson, who was named acting head coach after Popovich suffered a mild stroke in November, will now take over head coaching duties on a permanent basis. And in the majors, Blue Jays are in action, kicking off a weekend set with the Guardians in Toronto. First pitch, 5:07. You also got the Yankees hosting the Rays, Twins in Boston, and the Mariners travel to Texas to take on the Rangers. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by new CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnson. We'll also hear from Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation and speed things up in the Cantor Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Spring style and road-ready performance are more affordable than ever. Now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease or finance a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save up to $5,000. Lease a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 4.9% and save $3,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save $2,000. Get ready for the open road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services, only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular price. The works, the meats. Pick your favorite specialty pizza and get even more delicious Papa John's to enjoy. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Bricks tent sale is back. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents, with new product arriving daily and many items below cost. Plus, shop incredible 5-day deals, like mattresses starting at only $89. My Dia upright freezer for just $369. Save $700 on a 2-piece sleeper sectional, and desks start at only $99. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The tent sale is on now at the Brick, saving you more.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing, taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's two things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Tim's Smile Cookie is here, and every bite makes your community every bite better. Because 100% of proceeds are donated to local charities and community groups. Head to Tim's for Smile Cookies from April 28th to May 4th.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Little extra brass bonanza for you on a positive Friday. Hey, it's positively beautiful outside. It's going to be great weather, 25, 26 degrees. And think about that, Oiler fans. You get a weekend off. You don't have to worry about playoff games. You can go golfing. You can go hiking. You just sit out in your backyard. Maybe do a little yard work. That's always fun. But you'll be in a better mood because your team won. That's what happens in sports, especially in the playoffs. Everybody gets a little bit more excited. So, enjoy that. Enjoy the weather. And then you do have a game 6 tonight, Winnipeg and the St. Louis Blues, no Mark Scheifele. And then tomorrow we have at least one game 7, the Avs and the Stars. And oh my goodness, did you see the goal that the Stars lost on last night? Sam Steele goes to shoot the puck out. It hits his own player, Blackwell, in the shoulder and deflects into the net. Are you kidding me? Oh, it's a brutal way to lose. Brutal. I like what they said. He goes, man, you kind of have to just laugh it off. What do you do? So be a great weekend of hockey, even though the Oilers aren't playing. Now, let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. And we are joined by the commish. Is he used to that name yet? I don't know. Stuart Johnson is the new CFL commissioner. Of course, very familiar with the league, having worked at TSN for so long and understands the relationship for broadcasting and football. But Stuart, you make the move to the football side. Welcome to the show. Congratulations on the gig. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. And I tell you, on a Friday afternoon to be called the big guest of the day is a heck of an intro. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, hey, we have, you don't get to be there's not many commissions around. So you know what, that fits in. Now you obviously know.
Wait, hold on. I was thinking, you were talking about this amazing weekend of weather.
Yeah.
You've got coming up. A lot of things you can do. One thing you could do, grab a football, grab some friends, and go for a catch. Like, what is better than that?
You know what, sir? My son, we literally play catch in the backyard 3 times a week. He loves it. It's honestly,
it's so good.
It's one of the it's hard to explain. Is that father-son bonding thing? And I'd see it in movies, but now when you do a catch with your kid, I totally get it. It's a lot of fun. So as the commissioner and somebody who, of course, worked closely with the league for a long time on the broadcast side, from an outsider, it seemed like, okay, maybe this seamless might, I don't want to downplay the role of commissioner, but you feel pretty confident that you kind of know what you're getting into here.
I think to a good extent, probably more so than others might, and that I would have thought in going to some other role. Yes, I do. I've been great partners with the league through my entire almost 3 decades of a career in media. I have known many of the players, and by that I mean the executives, the stakeholders, the partners, and that sort of thing. throughout all that time, and I've been a massive fan for my whole life. And you mix those two together, I feel like I'm coming in, if not running, maybe a fast walk.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. A fast walk. So as you're walking quickly, Stuart, when you look, is the pending TV deal, is that priority number one?
I wouldn't say it's priority number one. We still have 2 seasons left under the current deal. It's a critically important plank of the future of the league for sure. And I'm sure we will be getting to that discussion and prepping for that discussion very quickly. But no, what I want to do is I want to execute. I want to have all of our team execute 2025 flawlessly, have an outstanding season leading to an exciting playoffs and, of course, an incredible Grey Cup. And I want to make sure that the league continues the positive momentum that really made it so attractive to me to come at this time. That I've seen so many metrics improving and growing, and I think the future of the league is bright. And I want to make sure 25 continues to lead us down that path.
So as you take over as the commissioner and you look, so the TV deal's down the road, and there's something, Stuart, it's been talked about for I don't know how long, and I haven't seen any progress. So I hope it's not. Like, I get why people think, hey, if it's there, it's there. But until a facility is built, there's really no realistic point to spend much time on expansion.
Well, I mean, the facility will be so critical to a future expansion consideration. I do agree with you. I think for that reason, and maybe others, I haven't made finding a 10th or an 11th or 12th team a top priority of me as I enter the new role. I want to look at things that we can control. We can control how the product on the field looks, the entertainment value that we're bringing, the platforms we're on, the content we're creating, and where we're distributing, and what kind of platforms we're distributing. We can focus on trying to grow the game of football through support of flag football and other means and other amateur football to try and expose this incredible sport to as many young people as possible. We want to work in the communities. So continue. I think it's incredibly important to continue the fantastic work that all of our clubs do working in the communities. I'd put the CFL at the top of the heap of leagues and teams and players and how they integrate with their communities. Those are things I think we can control. Would I love a 10th team? Oh, absolutely. As a guy whose job a number of years ago was to schedule the broadcasts of the league, 9 teams is incredibly awkward. And I know on this side of where I am now, the schedulers would say the exact same thing, and all the other benefits that would come with a 10th team. Absolutely. And if a group comes with an outstanding plan that includes plans for a stadium, includes financial wherewithal, includes the proper networking and support, all the boxes that we would want to have ticked. If someone comes with a plan like that, we will engage.
When you mention getting the younger fan, and that's obvious, especially in sports, you have your diehards, you have your loyal fans, because a lot of times you become a fan at a young age and you can stay there for a long time in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. And, some places in the league like BC, I think is a really good example of a team that's been able to connect and start to bring in that younger fan base. As a commissioner, when you oversee it for the league, from a league standpoint, is it connecting to them, like, improving, stats and more stats available for some people? Because the more information fans have, lots more times they're more engaged in the product.
I think you're exactly right. I think there are 2 ways to look at trying to engage younger fans to lower the average age of our overall fan base while you're growing the pie in and of itself. And it's from a short-term perspective, I think those are exactly the right things to think about, ways to engage with a fan base, a younger fan base that is voracious when it comes to stats and voracious when it comes to storytelling in and around personalities and great plays and that sort of thing, and doing it on platforms where they're consuming content. And so your digital strategy is absolutely critical. What we do with fantasy football and so forth, incredibly important in the short term. And I think there's been great work done at the league level and at the club level, and in coordination between those two groups, we've got to continue to push that. And then I'll come back to the long-term strategy for younger engagement or lowering the age of the fan base is doing what you do with your son. Go out and have a catch. Go and sign up for flag football. Get involved in the football community, because I do believe once young people touch the game of football, they will fall in love and they will become fans for life.
Flag football at a younger age is growing significantly, Stuart. How can the CFL help nurture that and get more kids playing?
Well, I think it's number one at the club level. We have an awful lot of great things going on, particularly in Edmonton, in the Alberta market, in the prairies. There are the clubs themselves are doing a fabulous job of supporting flag football in their communities. I think we at the league level need to support that. We need to work with Football Canada and see where we can partner to try and grow overall engagement and involvement and participation in flag. And very importantly, we must consider, how does the inclusion of flag football in the 2028 Olympics scroll backwards to 2025 and 26 and 27 as we lead into what I think that can deliver for the sport, and make sure that we are prepared to expose the sport and deliver on the promise of the Olympics in a way that helps grow the game.
Interesting. Stuart Johnson joins us. He is the new commissioner of the CFL. Stuart, what about kind of like in-game statistics, kind of like the live stats page on the website? Do you feel it's good enough? Would you like to see it improve? Would you like to see some more statistics available to fans during games and after games?
I think that we can always improve. The journey's never going to be done. This will be a continual improvement year over year, month after month, day after day. And so, yes, I think more stats, the way we deliver stats always can improve at the league level and at the club level, of course. But what I'm delighted about is that there is incredible focus on doing just that. And we've got a great team at the league and club level. And I would see that continued development coming. And certainly that's going to be a key priority for me.
When you look at, as the commissioner, you take over, and there's lots of things you're positive about, is there one thing that you personally look and say, like, this is going to be one of the main things I want to focus on and see changed? And I know you can't make change instantly, so I don't know if it's 6 months, a year. Is there a priority number one for Commissioner Johnston now that you've taken over?
Well, it doesn't answer your change, but it could probably, your change question, it might lead to that. I've committed to a 100-day listening tour, and that involves stakeholders across the country, from everyone from our incredible board of directors who are just the strongest I've seen in the 30 years I've dealt with the league, to the club presidents, to the club staff, to obviously our league staff who are outstanding, but then into partners, into fans, into players and coaches and media. And from there, I'll get a sense of some key priorities and key themes for sure. And so, for me, as I said, I'm starting kind of 4 weeks before training camp, before preseason, I should say. So 2025, let's execute flawlessly. We do need to prepare for a couple of major deals that are coming up, including that media deal. And I think all of this is going to lead to transformation.
Is there a way to forge partnerships, do you feel, Stuart, at all? I don't even know if it's necessary, with the NFL, with other leagues, or is the CFL best like on its own, or is the partnership maybe to somehow strengthen even more with youth sports?
I am a huge believer in relationships, and relationships, if they're strong and if there's trust, can, but not always do, can lead to partnerships. And so as you reference the NFL, I've got really strong relationships with a number of folks at NFL Canada and NFL out of New York.
Okay.
I've built those as partners. I've been, in my previous life, partners with them for 20 years. I want to become, I want to develop relationships in the youth sport, at the youth sport level, in other international football leagues. Again, I think football as a sport, we should all think of ourselves as complementary to each other, not competitive. And how do we broaden the entire ecosystem together? The league has a global initiative, and we have global players, outside of Canada and the U.S. who took combined over 5,500 snaps last year. Let's continue to improve the rosters through global expansion and global development. So I think those, again, relationships are the starting point. They can then lead to partnerships.
Well, Stuart, congratulations. Enjoy the listening tour. I like the name of that. Enjoy that. What, is the tour coming to Edmonton? We have a few texters wondering.
Oh, it is absolutely coming to Edmonton. I'm going to let you know the secret, but they're texting. I think it is the Sunday. I'm going to get the date wrong. July 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 6? Anyway, that game there, I'm targeting to come on out.
Okay, so if I'm looking quickly on my calendar in July, the 6th is indeed a Sunday. So yes,
6. Yes.
Okay.
That I believe is the game.
Where can people present their voice to you? How does that work? Are you gonna be sitting out like in a big booth outside the stadium?
Yeah.
The commish is listening.
That's it. Just that's it. Just grab an easy chair and put it in the parking lot and come on by. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, you can get Rashad to be security for you.
he's a big man. I would put my faith in Rashad.
His back might give out, but he would try. So that would be good.
That's true.
Awesome.
The effort would be there.
Yeah. Thanks, Stuart. We'll see you at Edmonton, and best of luck in the new gig. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Take care.
There you go. That's Stuart Johnson, the CFL commissioner. I love what he said. Like the main focus, God, like the one thing about Randy Ambrosie, I don't know how many times. Oh yes, we're gonna talk expansion. Like it was his new and they never made 1 millimeter of progress on expansion. Not one. They might have went backwards because, and I get that you can say, "Hey, I'd like one," but until somebody is going to build a facility in the Maritimes, it's not happening. The most realistic landing place would be Quebec City, right? And hey, it's a football hotbed. There, I'd actually think it would work. Not sure if they would do it or not, but that's the place that would work the most. The Maritimes, man, I love the idea of it. Right? That they don't have a pro sports team in any league. They got some minor pro teams, but they don't have a pro team. So I understand the hit you in the feels idea about it, but the reality is there's no building. Without a building, you got no chance. So don't talk about it until you know. Like I hope expansion is never brought up until someone says there's a press conference, and I'm going to announce you to Clark Smith, and Clark Smith and his team have decided they are building a facility. All right, now we got traction. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about it because it's just like wasted breath. It's waste. It's like your friend who tells you, you know what, Bob? Getting in shape, man. Getting in shape. See him 3 weeks later. Bob, how's it? Well, geez, I just haven't got there yet, but I'm going to get there, man. I'm going to hit the gym. Yeah, they never do it. So until you actually get, when Bob shows up and says, look, I put some money down. I got a membership. Okay, now we're at least a step forward. Now, Bob, do you have shoes? Right? Do you got a towel? You're probably going to need one. Like, do you have a plan? What are you doing? Because until you get the membership or a trainer, then it's just it's hot air. And it's been way too much hot air about CFL expansion. We'll return. We got lots of hockey talk to get to, of course, the orders. Many of you are texting in at 833-401-1440, wondering when this series starts. It's either Monday or Tuesday. Don't worry. Make plans for the weekend. There's no Oiler game this weekend. 100% guaranteed. Okay? Guaranteed. Vegas has a boxing fight. Pretty big title fight, actually. Sunday afternoon. So there's no opportunity to play a hockey game. It's either going to be Monday or Tuesday. We probably won't know maybe until after Sunday's game, and maybe even not then, depending, because what happens if the Jets lose tonight and there's a game 7? Because the Jets win, now there's 3 Canadian teams, so that will impact it. Right? If it's, I'm sure it might come down to St. Louis. Or obviously, if it's Monday, you're going to want to announce it Saturday, I'm assuming, right? Because the Oilers got to travel on Sunday, the day before, all those sorts of things. But Monday or Tuesday for sure. Might lean more Tuesday. We'll see. But Monday or Tuesday, I don't even know which way I'd lean. It's going to be dependent on a lot of things. We'll come back, talk some hockey. The Oilers. How excited are you? Are you, if you were a doubtful believer in round 1, are you a confident believer in round 2? 833-401-1440. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Alberta, the all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
There's one. And another. No, not spring flowers yet, but rather huge deals. It's GMC's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick. Nab 0% financing up to 72 months on our most popular Sierra half-tons, or massive discounts starting at $8,000. Choose your truck from a great selection, like the fabulous all-new Canyon, right up to the trailer-hauling Sierra HD with the industry-leading Duramax diesel. Spring into Wolf GMC Buick today and snag your truck, and see the savings at wolfgmcbuick.com.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
It's playoff time. Let's go. From pre and post-game shows to analysis from Kevin, Loadside, and Jason. This is going to be a fun run. For all things hockey, lock it in to Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing: taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's 2 things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvancelliot.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
You're listening to The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 14. The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.327. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having yourselves a lovely, positive Friday. There's so much to do this weekend, man. It just feels like it's great. The weather turns. You're outside. Think about it. Some of you, jean shorts, it's a questionable decision. It's questionable. Polite ways saying bad. But no, for some, it's a questionable choice. You also will, some of you are going to go guns out. What? Muscle shirts come out again. It's questionable. Depends. I can't go swooping across the board and say it's bad for everybody. Some people can pull off a muscle shirt better than others. I'm not sure anybody can pull off jean shorts on the male side of things. Strut is tried. Not a good look. No, the frayed jean shorts on ladies. Yeah, thumbs up from a lot of people. I get it. I'd like that ladies to text in. Do you like a guy in jean shorts? I'm just curious. Just on a random, ladies, let me know. 833-401-1440. Our next guest, he's probably hoping the answer is yes. He loves his jean shorts. Wanya Gretz from Oilers Nation joins us. Wanya, how you doing?
Well, I don't know if you watch hockey much, Gregor, but I do. And I caught a doozy of a game last night. I'll tell you that. And I'll be vibing off that. I felt like I was floating last night. That's how I'm doing. I'm floating.
Well, your voice sounds a little hoarse.
I was yelling.
Yep.
I was yelling at the television. I was having a great time.
Do you throw stuff?
No.
No.
But I yell mostly in rage. And I felt like the first period, there was enough action for 5 games. And then it just turned into a war of attrition after that. There was a lot to be mad at, specifically refereeing, which I found to be subpar.
Yeah, well, it didn't. Your team won.
Exactly.
The officials. Now, I'm gonna tell other fans right now. Prepare for not very many penalties in the next series. The Vegas Golden Knights set an NHL record for the fewest times shorthanded ever in a regular season. I'm just throwing that out there. Because people, you got to be prepared, right? People like to be prepared. So when I tell you that the Vegas Golden Knights took a whopping 169 in 82 games, which is 2.06. The Islanders were next at 180. Detroit 184, the Blues 190, Kraken 193, the Jets 199. That's it for teams under 100. The Edmonton Oilers, who are 10th best as far as fewest times shorthanded, still had 37 more times shorthanded than the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, on the other side of that, just because, I like to be fair. We're all about fair. Power play opportunities, dum. Fewest in the NHL, Columbus Blue Jackets. Second fewest, the Vegas Golden Knights. So here's the thing. The Vegas Golden Knights games had the fewest total power plays of any team in the NHL. They took 2.06 times shorthanded, and they only got 2.28 power plays per game. So there wasn't even 4.5 combined power plays in an average Vegas Golden Knights game. So I just wanted to clarify that. Now, the Oilers, they were only at 2.68 between the two of them. So it's not like, their games are, hey, oh my God, it's a never-ending trip to the penalty box. So I'm warning you right now, if that's what gets you fired up, you've got 72 hours to mentally prepare yourself. Serenity now. I'm just going to tell you, because if you get fired up at the officials and non-calls, I just like to warn people. It's going to happen in the play. Now, the LA Kings had the most power play opportunities of any team in the playoffs, Oilers fans, at 20. Vegas had 18. The Edmonton Oilers, 13. Tied for the fewest in the league. So you might have a beef for round one. We'll see if it carries over in round two. But it was at times a little bit surprising that some of them, was Edmonton that. Now, Edmonton took a few penalties that I thought were dumb. Now, that 20, there's one over the glass that results in a penalty that's wrong, the challenge. But one of the Oilers' power plays was also a challenge, right? So 12 actual infractions called, so which is low. But, the Oilers' power play chances in the regular season were 2.62. In the playoffs, it was down to 2.17. I think, and I got to double check, but I think they might be the only team who went down. Now, I can't 100% confirm that, but I know Vegas obviously went up in the regular season. What did I just say? They were 2.26. They went up to 3 per game. Pretty significant jump. So I can understand Oilers fans. The refs to me didn't impact the series, but I could listen to those who say, hey, I got kind of annoyed, like Wanye, about the officiating.
The concussion spotting, too, I find is very...
that's not a concussion spotter one.
You don't think that he should have come out?
No chance. No. Arvidsson's not tall enough to hit him in the head. Let's just call a spade a spade.
But he was all crouched over.
Yeah, didn't. He sold it. I don't discount that, but every goalie should. Did he feel bad in the chest? Yes. That's not a head. That is not a concussion. If the concussion spotter, because I always like to say, I reverse it. Would you want your goalie taking a... He clearly wasn't concussed. He was never in any trouble. To me, the last time on Stuart Skinner, the first time Skinner went for the concussion spotter, I thought that was a bad call. The second time, it was Captain Obvious. Stuart Skinner was on Strain Street. You could tell he was sitting on his eye. He's down on his knee, right? He's got the eyes. They're bugged out, right? It's like Wanye, first time he went to the Rippers, oh my God, right? That's what was happening. So the second time I had no problem with it. But I honestly didn't think last night that was going to... I know the crowd was like, what? And I get the crowd. You're supposed to be completely biased in a home playoff game. That's what you're supposed to be as a fan in the building. Every time there's a close call, you should boo. I'm a firm believer in that. The playoff hockey is supposed to be unbridled emotion. That's what it's supposed to be. You crazily cheer, and then you get upset when the call goes against you. That's what happens.
You're not trying at the playoffs if you're not booing and losing your voice. So I would, again, congratulate myself on my voice this morning because I was mad. I'm not here for... I don't know. I don't feel like the referee, every team I've ever visited, any city I've ever gone to, Gregor, I've done this as a social experiment. I say to the fans of the team.
And just the way, if you wanted the concussion spotter for Kemper, did you want it for Pickard when Anderson ran him over?
No, it's different.
See?
But I've asked the fan bases of numerous teams everywhere at the same, I go, it's just crazy to me how the referees and the umpires are just ruining a Cincinnati Reds season. I've never met a fan of sport that doesn't think the referees have some strange conspiracy theory
against their own team. Of course. Yeah, because you naturally have a bias. And at least I think most of the good fans are like, yeah, I admit it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a bias. We all have biases. As long as you're aware of it. If you say, no, I'm not biased, that's where the problem starts. Because that's when anger and rage becomes, bordering on delusion. So I get it. Fans can chuckle. Well, yeah, I want my team to win. So every call that's borderline, I expect it to be called, if it benefits my team, but not the other way.
If the gang in Silicon Valley rolled out an AI referee that understood all the old game tapes and all the old calls,
impossible.
You think it has to be refereed by a human being?
Yeah, of course. First of all, where is the AI guy going to be sitting?
Well, it would just be looking at all the camera footage at once. So it would be everywhere all at once watching the games, and it would know what a hooking penalty is because it's watched all the hooking penalties throughout the NHL.
But every hooking call is different.
No, it's usually a hook.
No, not some of them. Sometimes you'll get a hook. What about the ones that you don't call?
It would know that too.
So how would it? No. Because he would see, well, this didn't get called, so I can't call it now.
Well, if it looks
because he set the standard, right? Because that's what AI is going to do. It's going to take it. So if I have 10 hooks that didn't get called, he's going to say, well, that's not a hook.
But if it looks at like 15,000 hooks.
Yeah, but what about 15,000 non-hooks?
But it would know that too. So you would never.
So it's not going to change.
You think it has to be a human meat sack skating around being a referee interpreting the rules?
100%.
You're old school. I respect it.
I love it. Like, today's not the day to worry about the officials. You won the series, you move on.
I feel great.
Yeah. No, not you, but people got tons of people texting in this call, that call. Like, who cares? I'm not going to reenact every call. Guess what? The orders, there's a few calls. Like, to me, the most glaring miss was the Evander Kane cross-check from behind by Brant Clark. That was the most egregious miss of the playoffs in my books. And not of the order series. I won't say the playoffs, of the order series. And ultimately, didn't cost him the game. So if you're a believer that things even out, there's going to be a call. Now, I don't know when, but if you're a believer that things even out, at some point in the next however many games the Oilers play in the playoffs, they might get a call that evens out. We'll see. I can't guarantee it. But historically, I'm a believer that it does.
I'm amazed the impact Evander Kane had when he came back. Like, for a guy who'd been on the shelf for a year to come back into a high playoff intensity and step in and immediately have an impact, improbable, says the New York Times. But I saw it with my own eyes.
Hey, Greg, Arvidsson cross-check Gavrikov in the teeth last night. No call. That's how it goes. Montana to Rice. Well, exactly. There's always going to be a few calls that missed both sides. Would you like the refs to be 100% accurate? Sure. But guess what? That's like saying, I want all my players to never make a mistake. It's impossible. It's human nature, right? Now, think about it, gentlemen. Does your wife make a mistake every now and then? Do you point it out? Point out your girlfriend's mistake? It is different for fun, because I will know this. Ladies have a tendency to point out the mistake a little bit more. I'm just saying. Sometimes it's better off to just bite your lip, because anybody can point out the mistake. Sometimes it's just better to not point it out. Because that's, I would say, as somebody who complains about the refs, if you don't like it when your significant other is constantly complaining about you, you're becoming your significant other towards referees.
If I trust AI to drive a Waymo to drive me around, I think the human element you mentioned about the refereeing, embrace the future, Gregor.
Yeah. Hey, guys, you can train AI using good calls and give it examples of bad calls or missed calls. Then make a decision. But here's the thing. Who's deciding what's a bad and a good call? You're going to you just said it. Well, I don't think it's, so,
you could index index crowd noise, Gregor.
No. Here's the great part. No, because that's biased. The crowd noise is the home team. They have a bias towards the calls that go against their team, and the calls that benefit their team, they don't cheer against.
But you could train it
to
know.
How can you? So if I'm going to sit down there and I'm going to have Toronto fan and Edmonton fan watching the exact same game, and I see a hook, half the people say the call's wrong, the other half say it's right.
In an arena,
it's impossible.
The ambient noise level going way up would be an indicator of a worse missed call. In an arena, not two fans, an entire arena's noise.
Okay, does it go up when the call is missed against? So the Oiler gets away with a hit from behind. Do the fans cheer and do the fans boo that? Yes or no?
Yes.
They boo it when Darnell Nurse hits a guy from behind and doesn't get called for a penalty.
No, they do not boo it.
Thank you. Is it a missed call?
Yes.
So then that just proved my point. Thank you. Because now the ambient noise isn't, it's what's it doing? AI is getting confused.
But that's only one of 4 outcomes. You'd have a missed call where Darnell Nurse hits a guy from behind. There's no booing. But then when Darnell Nurse gets hit into the boards and there's huge booing,
but doesn't mean it's
a false positive.
But it doesn't mean it's a missed call, because guess what? The fans, I know this one's now, bear with me on this one. The fans can be a tad overly emotional and think that every infraction against their player is a penalty. I lived it you were in the building last night. There was 3 times. One time Connor McDavid fell on his own and the crowd booed because they thought it was a penalty. All I'm saying is, I know everybody thinks AI is going to be great, but you don't have a basis point of what's a good call, because for every penalty that's called, you have people say, that's not a penalty because it's on my team. I shouldn't say every call. There's a few, the glaring obvious ones, but everyone else is a gray area and it's susceptible to interpretation. You're never going to get rid of it.
They can make toast with a burned in picture of Connor's face. That's incredible. 5 years ago, I wouldn't believe it existed. We can't say what the future's going to bring. They make Connor toast.
Do you think they could, how about we just work on them getting a sensor in place so you can see a puck across the line properly? Doug, hey, Doug, dare to dream on a positive Friday. Doug, I'm with you, buddy. Dare to dream.
The reason they haven't done that, Doug, is they don't want you to know.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with human error. I don't have a problem. If you want to remove it, the game will suck. Just look at baseball. The more they get into it, you wait, they're going to do it. And that's just a pitch and a strike. And they're going to have a box. And sometime, what percentage of the ball is going to be in the box or not? And I think it's going to be awful. We human elements, okay. We aren't robots. So next, what's going to happen? Let's get AI fans. This is how you cheer, Wanye. No. Let's get AI to teach you how to cheer. And then there's no fans in the building because it's all AI and it's all robotic. It's the worst. There might be some good things about AI, but there's a lot of bad things. Let's not forget that. I'm not bringing it into sports because it's the worst idea on a positive Friday.
I'm not convinced that the harmonica ladies in game 2 were playing live, Gregor. If you really want to get into conspiracy theories, I think it was recorded in game 2. I think it was real in game 1.
But what about game 5?
I don't know. But for sure in game 2, it was sus. And we were talking about it on X, formerly Twitter.
You guys waste a lot of time talking about ridiculous
on the Twitter sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Those harmonica ladies, where do you think they are now that the Kings are out?
Well, we'll find out next. Is our next guest going to be live or is it an AI robot? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Ruther hits the gym.
As a new Mr. Ruther plumber, you get access to our company gym.
Nice. Where's the equipment?
Over here, we have a variety of tight pickle jars. Open those up to work out your pipe wrenching muscles. We've got your standard weighted plungers and over here a pipe wrench.
Why is that guy forcing his body into a suitcase?
He's getting limber. A good plumber must be able to fit under any sink.
For a plumber who always works out, call Mr. Ruther. I won't shave till we bring home the cup.
And I like to do a shot for every playoff goal.
My jersey's not coming off until we're the city of champs again.
Want a playoff superstition that always wins? Pick up a bag of Wilhauk beef jerky for every game. Because when it comes to the playoffs, where there's a Wilhauk, there's a way.
Make every playoff game a Wilhockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't bring home the cup with salad.
Spring style and road-ready performance are more affordable than ever. Now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease or finance a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save up to $5,000. Lease a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 4.9% and save $3,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save $2,000. Get ready for the open road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services, only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Grant Fedoruk here from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. Now, some people live with problems they don't have to because they might not know that we're here, the things we can do, and the issues we can help. Problems less talked about like incontinence, vertigo, Bell's palsy, and lymphedema. Or even things people live with every day like shoulder, neck, and low back pain. So while a lot of people already know we have the people, tools, and technology to help you head to toe, I'm going to keep at this because if just one more person gets the care they need, then every penny we spend sharing what and who we can treat is worth it. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protect it at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash soap. Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd? Get the triple plate. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Three 46. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As it's time for the Racing Report, brought to you by Cantork. Hey, what's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com. As we welcome back in Colin Livingston, live in flesh, no AI. But we got lots to talk about, man. I'll say this: the F1 season early on is it's no shortage of excitement. You don't know from week to week who's going to win. And now I know some people, if you're a fan of one, you're like, I only want my guy to win. Okay, maybe. But for me, I don't have like one horse in the race. Right? Like I like a few, and there's some I don't like. So I kind of like to see them lose. I like that. I'm finding this season early on infinitely more entertaining than any of the last. Well, I guess when Hamilton and Max were going head to head, that was pretty good. But right now, early on, this is a hell of a start.
Yeah, I mean, there have been, 2 teams have won. We're still early in. You guys were talking before the break about, well, now I'm kind of thinking of Connor McDavid toast. But, how biased people can be and how, you could show the exact same situation to 1,000 people and you're going to get 500 different opinions of what that exact same thing was.
Right.
So, I mean, racing is the perfect example of that. If you like Max Verstappen, you think it's great when he dominates. If you don't like Max Verstappen, you're looking for something to change to kind of upset the apple cart. This weekend, I don't know what we're going to see. I just like seeing good racing. I like to see where there's overtakes, where there's passing, where drivers can actually showcase their skill. Unfortunately, this car is really, since 2022, has really limited drivers' abilities to, push the envelope because the cars are so sensitive to their ride height. And if they go too close to them, when we're talking about ride height and too high, too close or too low, it's literally millimeters or a fraction of a millimeter that if you go too low, you lose that downforce. If you go too high, you're too draggy.
Yeah.
And it's really tough for drivers to showcase what they've got. But this weekend, they made a couple of changes. Miami extended one of the DRS zones. So hopefully that'll lead to a bit more passing. DRS passes are passes, but they're not as exciting as when drivers can actually do it more organically, where you somebody makes a mistake, you kind of set them up, you kind of throw it up the inside. You're able to throw some hard brakes on and really make a cool pass. Those seem to be the exceptions now. Everyone kind of waits until they get to the right DRS zone, suck up, pass. Generally that's the faster car. But yeah, it'll be interesting. This is also a great weekend because it doubles up with IndyCar. So I was kind of in my glory, back in the office where This morning I watched the F1 Academy practice. I watched FP1. I got to watch some IndyCar. I watched the sprint qualifying up until the last second when I had to tap out of the office to get over here. So I'm not really sure how that turned out. But yeah, lots going on.
Now, what about all these support measures, the rule changes that you outlined? That are, that they're looking at, the extra PU budget flexibility, engine architect stays, all like, what happened here is this Red Bull complaining and getting in their way? What's going on?
This always seems to happen when Red Bull gets the edge. Christian Horner was very famous for telling the other manufacturers, build a better car. Now that was somewhat edited. There's a little bit more colorful language in that. Now that they're indicating that they're behind the 8 ball with their 2026 engine development, Red Bull is taking over their own engine power units. They started with Honda. They have some of that technology. They're partnering with Ford. And it's pretty obvious that they're feeling like they're way behind the curve, that during the last board meeting, they've campaigned for, and it seems like they were successful in getting concessions so that the teams that seem to be ahead right now are Mercedes. But instead of building a better engine, they're trying to get the rules changed so that they get more development time, or they get a little bit more of a concession so that they're not going to be so far behind. I mean, that's kind of an artificial means to keep the field together, but it just seems to be when Red Bull speaks, the rest of the FIA just seems to nod and say yes.
Yeah, so that seems that seems a little bit odd for sure. Back in Miami, sprint weekend.
Yeah.
And you don't love the sprints, but this track a good track for sprint racing?
I don't know that there is a good sprint track. The idea behind these sprint races is that F1 wants to add more excitement. This is similar in nature to what NASCAR has done in the past by, creating these green, white checker finishes and coming up the playoffs. If you know exactly what's going to happen, it's no longer exciting. These sprint weekends, a typical weekend has 3 practice sessions, and, first practice and second practice are generally held on Friday, third practice on Saturday, then they go into qualifying. These weekends, they get 1 practice session of an hour, which is the same as a general, FP1, but then they have to go right into race configuration. Then a day like today, they practice, they qualify today for the sprint tomorrow. They run the sprint, then they have to go back to regular qualifying for the race on Sunday. It's somewhat confusing because the sprint has no influence on what the race start is. It makes more sense in my head if you're going to run the sprint, your finishing order then becomes your starting order for the race, but that's not what F1 chooses to do. So yeah, long-winded answer. No, I don't like sprints. Miami will be fine. 3 DRS zones, so there should be some overtaking. But they also announced that they've extended the contract for the Miami Grand Prix to 2041. So another 16 years, they've signed an agreement, which almost certainly indicates that the race won't make it that far. Anytime they make these kind of grandiose gestures, there's no way for them to live up to it. And there's already 3 races in the US. I don't know how they can keep supporting. It'll be really interesting to see how this race develops over time.
Yeah, and just overall racing in the US, right? I know that they've went in and they charge an exorbitant amount of money because they're like, hey, it's a new market, and we'll see. Does it last? Trying to get some more American teams in there would probably help. Let's be honest. It's the US loves cheering for their own, sure. and I get it. At times, I wish Canada would do it more, if I'm being bluntly honest. But I'm curious about the temperature on this circuit in Miami. How much, if it's really hot, how much of a factor is that for a non-racing guy? I know the heat, but how much can this impact the race?
Tons. I mean, we've seen over the last couple of years, a car like the Mercedes runs much better at colder temperatures. The biggest thing is how it affects your tires. And you'll hear teams talk about getting in the right window time and time again, or trying to get the tires switched on. What the windows that these cars, or the range that these cars run in, is so small. I can't tell you the exact temperature, but for example, if the tire needs to be at 75 degrees Celsius, they need that tire to really be somewhere between 74.6 and 75.4. Otherwise, they start losing the front end, they start losing the rear end. The tires overheat, which adds to the degradation, or you'll hear them say deg on the broadcasts. Or if they can't get them to the optimum temperature, then the car's just going to slide. Miami, I haven't looked at what the weather forecast is. Generally, it tends to be a hotter race. They'll be into the 80s, into the low to mid 30s in Celsius, which creates a challenge. Again, Mercedes seems to really struggle. It's one of the things they're talking about working on from the last race till now, is to try and get their car to perform better at higher temperatures. But it might open some opportunities for the other cars that, just like the McLaren, really seems to enjoy the hot temperature.
Okay. So I guess they all know all the details, and you can use it potentially to your advantage.
Sure.
Now, Piastri and Norris. Is Piastri the better driver?
He's sure had the better results so far. Where Lando seems, you never know what's going on in a driver's head, and I don't want to profess to speak for what a driver's thinking, because it's one of my number one pet peeves, is to see a result and then hear a broadcaster say, "Well, you can tell he was trying to do that." No, you can't. You don't ever know what's going on. But it seems like Norris is definitely feeling the pressure. They seem to believe that they were going to be a lot quicker than the Red Bull, and now Piastri is outperforming. So there's a lot of pressure on him.
But what about, I should laugh, but what about the fact that they left 2 flashlights in Norris's car? Like, has that ever happened? Like, at first when I read that, I'm like, what? Like, they left the flashlights in his car. That's unbelievable.
And they weren't little. Like, there was kind of one handheld, but one was like a big LED light bar. And it's like, guys, this is not a little mistake.
Someone's got to be in trouble over that one.
They actually got called to the steward's office because that counts as the car going on the track in an unsafe condition.
Totally.
Sometimes things can fall, sometimes things can happen, but
like a screw.
Like, my goodness, you go to hit the brake, and that's wedged between the pedal and the floorboard. You could kill your driver. That's not a small mistake. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Norris, that just compounds the issues they've had. We'll see how. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know who qualified where for the sprint tomorrow. But it was really. I saw Hamilton was up front, but I think they dropped down towards the end. I had no idea how that thing finished up.
And Scotty Dixon's looking to extend his consecutive race streak.
Scotty D, I mean, the ultimate Ironman.
Is that 342?
He's done 342. Okay. If he takes the start on Sunday, it'd be 343. He's almost, I think he's 50 races beyond the previous benchmark sent by Tony Kanaan. But, there's no reason. They're at Barber this weekend. They call it the Augusta of racetracks, and it is. I mean, I've been there.
Barber Motorsports, is that good? Why?
It's just gorgeous. It's in Alabama, so just neighboring Georgia, the same topography as you see at Augusta.
Okay.
Super elevation. I think from high to low is like 85 feet from the peak to the valley. Super high speed, flowy corners. Awesome service. The fans get treated like gold there.
Okay.
Just not the best racetrack. It's fun to watch the cars on track, but for
you get burger and a beer for $5 like Augusta.
Maybe out of somebody's camper. I don't think you'll find a concession, but yeah, I mean, for racetrack to allow for good passing, you need hard braking zones where you can kind of outbrake someone. If you're always at speed and always flowing, it makes it really, really, really tough to pass. But these are great weekends where you kind of get to go back and forth and kind of see. The
difference.
F1 has better production value, but IndyCar has much better racing.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah,
I would agree.
And it's way more folksy. Like the combination. Will Buxton has moved over from Formula One. He's now the lead broadcaster. Our friend Hinchcliffe, he's doing, color with Townsend Bell. They offer a really good combination. Hinch is great because he's not arrogant. He doesn't make the broadcast about himself. So he offers the insight of what it's like in that car without, some of the nature of a lot of broadcasters is to turn it back into themselves. Like, when I did this and I would have done this and blah, 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 blah. He just adds to the broadcast. But yeah, really good to switch back and forth. Be really curious to hear what people's feedback is for next week's show.
Awesome stuff. Should be a great weekend of racing, Colin. Enjoy it. Enjoy moving in.
Oh, yeah. We got no AI support for that. I can tell you that much.
Serenity now.
Yeah.
Serenity now is really the only patience for moving in. Oh, it's a good challenge. But you and Amanda are still together. So that's always a good sign if you get through a move.
There's a great pop-off valve where she gets to point out all of my mistakes. So she gets to do that, and I get to take it.
Let's get to Connor Halley and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Are you planning a summer road trip? Make your first stop at Fountain Tire. From tire checks and oil changes to alignment and brake inspections, they'll make sure your vehicle's ready for every mile ahead. Find your nearest location at fountaintire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Just one game on the ice tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You got the Winnipeg Jets in St. Louis taking on the Blues. Winnipeg leads that series 3-2. Puck drop 6 o'clock. The Edmonton Oilers have signed defenseman Alec Regula to a 2-year contract extension. It's a two-way deal. The 24-year-old was claimed off waivers from the Bruins back in December, and the New York Rangers found their next head coach, Mike Sullivan, becoming the 38th head coach in Rangers franchise history. He became available when he parted ways with the Penguins on Monday after 10 seasons. In the association, the Warriors looking to wrap up their series with the Rockets just after 7 o'clock down in San Francisco, currently leading 3-2. Basketball Hall of Famer Greg Popovich will no longer coach San Antonio Spurs. He's transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. Mitch Johnson, who was the acting head coach after Popovich suffered a mild stroke in November, is now taking over on a permanent basis. Major League Baseball, Jason Action kicking off a weekend series with the Guardians out in Toronto. We'll have those games for you Saturday, Sunday, right here on Sports 1440 radio feed only. You also have the Yankees and hosting the Rays, Twins in Boston, and the Mariners travel to Texas to take on the Rangers. Some news from the Elks today. Ahead of their rookie camp next week, they've signed American quarterback William McClavin. Also releasing quarterback Jarrett Dagey, Daniel Joseph, Jacob Taylor, Jermaine Smith, and 2023 West Division Rookie of the Year, Ty Gray. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Gene Principe of Rogers Sportsnet. We'll ask 5 questions. Here Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, and it's your next chance to qualify for Here Comes the Sun. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
If you bleed orange and blue and you're not using the all-new Play Alberta Sports and Casino app, then you're missing out. It's the only online sportsbook with odds boosts on all Oilers games. And now, it's not just sports. Play the slots, hit the tables, buy lottery tickets, all in one app, all across Alberta. Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and use promo code GOAL for a $100 bonus. That's promo code GOAL!
They are nice, tasting just so right. You can noodle at noodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order noodle at noodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order noodle.ca. Noodle.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice. EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365. UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Kevin Carius, Elks, Low Tide, Jason Gregor. They are all ready for the Cup run. Sports 1440 is your home for all things hockey, including our pre- and post-game show with Andrew Walker. Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader.
Thursday, May 8th is McHappy Day, when every menu item purchased at McDonald's helps support families with sick children. So you can feel the good that comes from doing good, just from ordering.
So if I order a Big Mac, I'm helping.
Yup.
What about a McFlurry? 10-piece chicken McNuggets and apple pie?
You got it. Every single order helps. Join us at McDonald's for McHappy Day on Thursday, May 8th. Do good, feel good. A portion of food and beverage sales will support RMHC chapters and local children's charities across Canada.
It's Canadian Tire's Big Spring Tire Sale. Save up to 30% on quality brands like Michelin, Continental, and Motomaster until May 7th. Conditions apply. Details online.
Chinch bug thrive on drought-stressed lawns and kill your grass. You need Green Drop's chinch bug protection for $178, which includes 2 treatments when you sign up for any of our Beautiful Lawns programs.
Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Visit greendrop.com.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos, construction. Start planning right now at BashawConcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona has special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Can you send me the email today?
Friday. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Wine and Grass with you, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely day. The Oilers, in case you're wondering, no games this weekend. 100%. They're not playing. Well, they have a day off today. They'll practice tomorrow, and then we'll find out probably tomorrow when their game's going to be either Monday or Tuesday. But it's going to be depend. Like, what if Winnipeg loses tonight? Now they're going to play Game 7 on Sunday. We will have the result of the Dallas-Colorado game, so that might help, because you got to remember, as much as it's about Sportsnet, ESPN will have a big say here on who's playing where. So Colorado-Dallas, does that impact, on who plays on a certain night? It might for ESPN. I don't know the numbers for them, but there is the matter of who plays who, right? We know that New Jersey's playing Washington. We know that. Toronto's playing Florida, right? I would guess, and this is just a guess, but I think in an ideal world, Sportsnet would Toronto one night, Edmonton the other night. Because Edmonton's just a bigger Canadian market. And McDavid and Draisaitl are a bigger draw nationally right now than the Winnipeg Jets. They just are. Like, if McDavid and Draisaitl were in Winnipeg, they'd be a bigger draw. So this is not pro Edmonton. I'm just looking at, the big names. And then obviously there's a bigger population in the Edmonton area. So that'll factor in. ESPN will have a say in it. So you might not know until later on. But Monday or Tuesday for sure it's when it's going to go. And if you look, I think there might be an event potentially Wednesday in Vegas. So you might see a Tuesday, Thursday start. I wouldn't be shocked. So, but it might start Monday and then go Thursday. Who knows? So nothing's concrete at all. And we'll wait and see because it's going to depend on some of the other ones. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. Now we're gonna get to Mean Gene coming up in a bit this hour. We got Button and Spec in the final hour, but also right now, it's Positive Friday, and your Friday could get a whole lot better very quickly because here comes the sun. And as you look outside, that's a fitting name for our contest that we run every day in the 4:00 hour for an opportunity for you to win a $15,000 turnkey solar system courtesy of Action Electrical. This is unbelievable. So it's not only the $15,000 you save for all the installation, it's all the money you'll save after the fact. Your bills are going to go down. This is a huge package. Like if I had to figure out, like, let's just say, it's the last 15 years. I'll just go 10. It's more of a round number. And let's say, it's saving you $150 a month, right? You just do the math on that. Right, $150 a month. You're talking $1,800 a year times 10 years. It's $33,000. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So it's Positive Friday. Very simple question for you today. I'm assuming most of you were watching the game last night. The Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. Very simple. I need your name included with the name of this player who last night scored the game-winning goal. It is a 6-4 game, the game-winning goal for the Edmonton Oilers. I'll give you a hint. It was his first goal as a member of the Oilers. How's that? Hey, what's your first goal? I was a game winner, playoffs. Not bad. Not bad at all. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Move your mic down, Wanya. You're breathing into it. There we go.
My apologies.
There we go.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, you and Struds, nose breathers.
Nuh-uh. I love breathing oxygen, though.
Yes. Well, it's important, but yeah. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Who scored the game-winning goal for the Oilers de Edmonton last night? Meanwhile, we do have some other news. Alex Regula, kind of the forgotten player for the Oilers this season. They picked him up on waivers. He was injured at the time. He had a rehab, and then they kind of shut him down in March. Wasn't going great. But he signed a 2-year, two-way contract today with the Edmonton Oilers. A few of you are asking, does that mean because it's a two-way, it doesn't require waivers? No. So I'll just explain to you. Two-way, the only thing two-way impacts is your salary. You're getting paid an NHL salary, and then you get paid an AHL salary. If you're on a one-way deal, you get paid your NHL money even if you're in the minors. That's what a two-way deal is. The two-way deal does not impact waivers in any fashion. How waivers works is the simplest way is players who they're on their entry-level deal, right? When their entry-level deal expires, then the next year when they sign their new contract, then they require waivers, except goalies, because goalies can have 4 years and most entry-level deals, obviously, well, not most, none can be longer than 4 years. So goalies can be into their second contract. Most players cannot. Now, some players, once you've played 160 games, and let's say you play 2 full regular season, and in some weird way, in year number 3, the team wants to send you to minors, well, now you play too many games, even though you're in your entry-level deal, you would require waivers. So it's kind of the easiest ways. When you look at guys, everybody who's not in their entry-level deal, usually they require waivers. Now, there are a few exceptions for skaters. There are a few exceptions. We could get into every one of them, but that's a simple one. Two-way is only determining your finances. It's a certain amount in the NHL and then a different amount in the American League. That's it. A one-way deal is 100%. You get the same salary whether you're in Edmonton or you're in Bakersfield. So Regula, he required waivers last year. He'll require waivers next season for the Oilers if he ends up going to the minor. So that's how it goes. 833-401-1440. The name of the Oiler who scored the game-winning goal last night to send the Oilers to the second round. They'll face Vegas for the second time in 3 years. So put his name in and your name, and we'll go until 4:20, and then Connor will make a decision. He'll do the draw. He's got his The randomizer is pretty tough, man. Like, good for you. Puts the randomizer on, and boom, he'll pick you. Make sure you answer your phone, because if you don't answer your phone, he calls the next person. It's a private number. Don't be the person who's like, I don't know that number. I'm not answering it. I think you should just live on the edge now. Answer every phone number. I know there's a lot of spammers. It's kind of annoying. But, hello? Try to play them. Oh, yeah. Dave from wherever. Like, hey, Dave, how's your day going? Good? Yeah. No, I don't want anything. Have a great day. Like, it is kind of annoying. I get it. I totally get it. Lots more texts coming in. 833-401-1440. Hey, Greg's, how many guys from the Oilers are still here from when they played Vegas? It seems like the Oilers got a very different team. Well, the core players of the Oilers are still here from 2023. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Zach Hyman, Evander Kane up front. Matthias Janmark. Did he play that series? Yeah, Matthias Janmark was there. So that's 6 forwards. Then Connor Brown wasn't here. Henrique wasn't here. Podkolzin wasn't here. Frederick wasn't here. Corey Perry wasn't here. So yeah, half of the Oilers forward group is different. If you look on defense for this series, obviously Bouchard, Nurse, and Kulak were here. The other 3 were not. So yeah, half the team's different. Calvin Pickard wasn't here. So I would say half the team's different. Now, I'm curious if I look at Vegas and see who's different from that team. So their defense, Theodore was there, White Cloud, Petrangelo, Nick Hague, McNabb. So they got 5 guys that they're there on defense, very similar. They're not as great defensively based on the numbers. Should point that. And we'll get to that more on Monday show. Up front, Eichel and Stone, obviously William Karlsson. Barbashev was there. He was acquired that year. It was a pretty good acquisition for them. Riley Smith left and has come back, so that he's there. Brett Howden, Keegan Kolazar. Who else am I missing? I think that's it. So yeah, they got a few more, or a few more guys that were there, but there's still a significant change. But half the Oilers roster basically is different from 2 years ago for the playoffs.
It's amazing the year-to-year changes in an NHL roster. Like, I don't feel like the Oilers have cleaned house in many a season. And yet, when you look at the roster from even 2 seasons ago, it's amazing the turnover.
Yeah.
In a 23-man roster, like, what's normal on a season-to-season basis for turnover?
Well, I remember Glenn Sather said you should change over 20% of your roster.
Every year.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think about it, guys age out, contracts, 20% might be high, right? But if you look, like, the Oilers had significant change from last year, right? If you look, Fogle, McLeod, Holloway, gone. Cody Ceci, Vinny Desharnais, Philip Broberg, gone. So, yeah, that was significant change. And, they added some guys at the start of the year, and then, of course, added even more during the season. Frederick Wallman, as well as Klingberg, come in during the year. So, I would say 23-man roster, but if I look at like 20 skaters, 2 goalies, I bet you probably most teams have a minimum of 3, I would think. All right, so that's 15% out of 20 skaters. So that's kind of normal. And that might even be low if I went and looked at it. That might even be low. So 20% would be like 4 of your regular guys. But then, of course, you have a 7th defenseman who changes and maybe an extra forward who played 20 games 1 year. Is that a change? I kind of think it is. If you bring up a guy late in the year and he plays 20 games, the next year and he's a full-timer, well, that's, to me, kind of a new player. But good question. Hey, Greg's. The Oilers should consider freezing the janitor like Walt Disney and thawing him out every April. Cheers from GM Parisian. Hey, how good was Matthias Janmark, though, in that first round?
So good.
Right? Competitive, scored some key goals. You know, another guy who I thought had a quiet, good series, especially because of how bad they were on the penalty kill. But Adam Henrique, and I didn't check since the last game, but he hadn't even been on the ice for a goal against on the penalty kill where everybody was getting lit up in the penalty kill, and he's still one of your top 4 penalty killers. So, he ended up, getting that goal, a little bit of a lucky break, right? Hits him in the arm, goes in, but you'll take it. You get off to Schneid. Now he's got a goal. Like Trent Frederick's got a goal. Connor Brown's got a goal. Janmark has 2 goals. Arvidsson has a goal. Podkolzin, I think, now is he the only forward who didn't score? Because Hyman scored, Draisaitl scored, McDavid scored, Nugent Hopkins scored, Brown scored, Janmark scored, Perry, Kane, Frederick, Henrique. Yeah, I think it might. Like, in one series, like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good bounce from your team. Or did Arvidsson score a goal? Yeah, he scored a goal. So, is Podkolzin the only forward who didn't score?
Well, I hate to pile on, but Jeff Skinner didn't.
Yeah, okay, but he only played 1 game, so I'm not going to. So, yeah, out of the guys who are regulars every night, he's the only forward. Like, in a 6-game, like, if you prorate that over a whole year, that's why people, well, yeah, 1 guy. But think about it. Because the Oilers right now, I calculated their forwards, and if you look at their points, guys who had 3 points in the series, which puts you on a 40-point pace. Like, that's how productive the Oilers forwards were in this series. That they've got 10 players who would be 40-point players. Like, that's not happening in a regular season. But that's how good their offense was, and that's how good it was spread around. Obviously, and your big dogs still were really good. McDavid and Draisaitl, 11 and 10 points. But then you had Nugent Hopkins 5, Brown 5, Hyman 5, Podkolzin 4, Perry, Kane, Janmark, Frederick 3, Henrique and Arvidsson 2. And everybody scored a goal except Podkolzin, and he had 4 assists. In 10 minutes, and some pretty key assists too. So the Oilers can score. To me, against Vegas, they're going to have to be a little bit better defensively. Like, let's be honest here. They gave up a lot of goals. It's not just goaltending. They changed the goalie, and they still gave up a fair amount of goals. So they got to tighten. They got to batten down the hatches a little bit defensively.
You don't suppose Jeff Skinner waited all that time to get into the playoffs to only play 1 playoff game, do you?
He might have, buddy.
Oof.
He might have. So we'll see. Quick break. When we come back, Gene Principe will join us on the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
If you bleed orange and blue and you're not using the all-new Play Alberta Sports and Casino app, then you're missing out. It's the only online sportsbook with odds boosts on all Oilers games. And now, it's not just sports. Play the slots, hit the tables, buy lottery tickets, all in one app, all across Alberta. Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and use promo code GOAL for a $100 bonus. That's promo code GOAL!
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
The Bricks tent sale is back. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents, with new product arriving daily and many items below cost. Plus, shop incredible 5-day deals, like mattresses starting at only $89. My Dia upright freezer for just $369. Save $700 on a 2-piece sleeper sectional, and desks start at only $99. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The tent sale is on now at the Brick, saving you more.
At Sherwood Honda, you'll find the true north traits Canadians are known for. Friendly? Check. Reliable? Check. Canadian made? Here's how you check. If the first digit on the VIN number is a 2, that Honda was made here in Canada, like the Honda Civic, CR-V, and CR-V Hybrid. Sherwood Honda has a whole lot of 2s for you to choose, a whole lot of spirit, and a whole lot of reasons your heart sure would be glowing when you pay them a visit.
Tim's Smile Cookie is here, and every bite makes your community every bite better. Because 100% of proceeds are donated to local charities and community groups. Head to Tim's for Smile Cookies from April 28th to May 4th.
O'Hanlon Paving is looking for Finnish skid steer operators, Finnish grader operators, Class 1 drivers, and more to join their Edmonton road crew team. Bring your positive attitude and great work ethic to their job fair, Friday, May 9th from 10 till 3. Visit o'hanlonpaving.com/careers.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos, construction. Start planning right now at bashawconcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
Join the fight this Saturday night. Hi, Todd James, your ride captain for the Edmonton Motorcycle Ride for Dad, raising funds and awareness in the battle against prostate cancer. Once again, Blackjack's Roadhouse in Nisku is hosting our kickoff fundraiser, a night of nostalgia with Canada's tribute to ABBA, Arrival, plus silent and live auctions, 50-50 and more. All money raised goes to this June's ride in support of the Prostate Cancer Fight Foundation. See you Saturday. Tickets just $35 on the Ride for Dad Edmonton Facebook page.
Horses of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
So 427, welcome back. Positive Friday. It's an extra positive Friday for Chris, who is our qualifier today for Here Comes the Sun, a chance to win a $15,000 turnkey solar system for your home, or you can gift it to someone else. Now, you need to be a homeowner, reside within 50K of Edmonton, and your shingles 12 years or newer, otherwise going to cost you way more money once you get the solar system put on. Chris, congratulations. You have qualified. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Jason?
I'm excellent. What type of fan are you when you watch the game, Chris? Calm, cool, yelling at the TV, pacing? What are you?
A little yelling, a little bit of pacing.
Okay.
Kind of pretty average.
Okay. Do you ever toss the remote?
No, my dogs run away when I do that.
Oh, okay.
So, no.
No. Yeah. So the dogs are watching with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So do they ever? So do you scare them off the couch sometimes?
Yeah, they'll go downstairs and hang out with my wife sometimes. Yeah.
Whoa. So your wife doesn't watch the games with you?
She does. Depends how they're doing. If they're losing, she'll leave the room.
Oh, okay.
She thinks it's bad luck.
It's too stressful. Okay. So your wife's the pacer, isn't she? She's just walking around watching.
Yeah, she gets a little stressed. Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
All right. Does she get stressed for anything else, or is it just sports?
No, other things. Okay.
There's a good hesitation. Hey, Chris, well, don't worry. I don't want to get you the doghouse here, so I get it. The wife's in listening distance. Smart. I get it. The code word operation. I figured it out. Well, Chris, congratulations. You have qualified. Stay on the line, and there's one final step for an email. Connor will explain that, and you could be winning on May 23rd a $15,000 turnkey solar system courtesy of Action Electrical.
Okay, thank you very much.
Awesome. I love that pause. And right then I knew his wife was there. And you know what? Maybe there's something else, but Mark, maybe, yeah. Abort mission. I get it. I totally get it. Now let's get in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where, hey man, this is an unreal, when you think about it, what a great package for them to give. all the installation, everything, 15 grand. It's no joke, right? $15,000 solar package. It's unbelievable. So you want to support a company that definitely gives back and helps out in the community, actionelectrical.net. They do great work. As we welcome in Gene Principe. Gino, how many beers did you get thrown on you last night in the moss pit for your intro?
Yeah, that is one thing, Jason, that I had not, maybe I'd heard about it but I was a bit surprised how many beers were sort of being tossed or thrown. It wasn't, but first of all, they're plastic cups. So it's wet, but it should not be dangerous. And there were a few while I was there, but I don't know if you could, they weren't thrown, I know it's going to sound weird, they weren't thrown violently.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not like it's being chucked at somebody in the face to smash their face with a beer, a plastic cup. They're kind of more, they're more tossed up in kind of a funny, relaxing, gentle manner. I know that may sound weird, and if someone had said that to me before I went in there last night, I might not have understood, but that's the way I would describe it. And I didn't see any trouble out of it. Kids are laughing. I mean, I got shoes older than most of the people that were standing around me last night. I mean, that is a young group of Edmontonians supporting oil country with their hearts and with their voices. And it was great. I got to tell you, I mean, it was a wonderful, vibrant, supportive, energetic place to be.
How did they get into the middle of the moss pit so quick? Was it like a rope or some sort of drone? How did you get into the middle of the crowd?
Yeah, Wanye, nice to talk to you. You know what? Originally, I was kind of off to the side, and then it's very packed. Like so imagine what it's like on TV, and then you're trying to wade through there. There isn't a lot of room. People have to be kind of kind and courteous to let you through. Otherwise, it's tough to get anywhere. But our director said, "Hey, do you think you could go more in the middle?" And I said, "Sure, let's do it." And so I was a little bit more in the middle, and the kids were great. I would say that 5,000 people spread out over that area. I would say 4,000, maybe 850 or 900 might not have even known I was there. They just you can't see because it's such a crowd.
Yeah.
There were lots of kids as I was leaving, like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" Like, "Oh, I didn't know you." Just reacting. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an example of what we are and who we are as Edmontonians, and in the case of everyone around me as Oiler fans. I thought it was a great way to showcase our city and the people that live in it. And it's not perfect. And I know, you see videos or you hear things, and I get that. But I would say for how many people are there, how long they are there, how close they are to each other, it is a very respectful crowd in my experience.
Yeah, like, you got thousands of people and you have one or two bad apples. That doesn't mean that the rest, they don't speak or showcase for everybody. Sadly, there's always going to be a few of that can misrepresent the majority. Kind of like the Oilers series. The Oilers would say the first two games didn't represent how they could play, and then they started to play a lot better later on. And the theme of this series was the Oilers they were able to continually outscore the Los Angeles Kings. Even if you got into a shootout, Edmonton could just outshoot you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of year, as you guys know, that we get these finalists almost every day. Yesterday, we found out that Leon Draisaitl was a Hart Trophy finalist. I would say maybe 2-3 days ago, some point during this series, we found out that Darcy Kemper was a Vezina Trophy finalist, and a guy who's, basically your top three goalie, according to those voting. And I'm not trying to downplay Darcy Kemper, but I will pump the tires, to quote Roberto Luongo from the 2011 Stanley Cup final, of Calvin Pickard. I mean, and I think too, Jason, I think as we get into round two and Calvin stepped in and played 4 games and won 4, and I don't know how many more he's going to play, but I think the narrative or the storyline about how he plugged away in the minors and, who knew that this third goalie would be not only the second goalie, let alone, but the first goalie. I think Calvin in some ways, the story's been told. I think he deserves more respect for what he's done this season and what he's doing now. And so for us to go back and I do it too. I asked him about it last night. So I guilty as charged here, but I feel like he was asked about it post game as well. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to talk about Calvin Pickard now. I think if you're a hockey fan, you probably know the trials and tribulations he's gone through as a goaltender. But right now, he's helped the Edmonton Oilers get to the next round when they were in a very difficult spot, pressure-filled, stepping in down 2-0. So I'm going to go that route with Calvin. And I think the Oilers as well, Jason, they made adjustments that allowed them special teams-wise to get back into the series after a tough couple of first games. And to quote Leon Draisaitl, our best beats anyone else's best, and that includes LA. So onward and forward to a foe that we're familiar with. And I think the one thing I realized, Wanye and Jason, last night, and talking to Connor McDavid specifically, is that they haven't forgotten. And I'm not going to say they feel like they blew that series, because that would be unfair to Vegas. But I think there's definitely a feeling like they could have, and in their minds should have won it if they had done maybe a couple things differently. So that sets up for, we talked about all the redemption and revenge of LA. It isn't 3 years building, but they certainly haven't forgotten about who they lost to and who won the cup.
Looking at the LA Kings side of it, Gene, it's 4 years in a row. And for 4 years in a row, the Kings didn't forecheck consistently. For 4 years in a row, whether it was a 1-3-1 or whatever system they're playing, that they're sitting back and it hasn't won. Like, the LA Kings can't run this back again, can they?
Yeah. I it's first of all, I really like Jim Miller. I think he's a very honest coach, and whether you're a player or a fan or a media member or just someone from the public that watches hockey and listens to people talk about it, I really enjoyed that part of Jim. He did try and defend his defending in the third period of play, seemingly suggesting that it is something that has happened but isn't orchestrated or isn't planned on or isn't changed to be like that. Jason, the margin, and Wanya, the margin of error, right? If Leon Draisaitl doesn't score on the power play in overtime in Game 4, even though the Oilers had, battled back and you might say, especially with the overtime in the second half of the game, deserved to win. Boy, it's a 3-1 series, and that is a heck of a pillar to climb. So now they get that goal, and then they reel off 2 more wins. So I don't know. For sure, LA would have to do something different. There was something I saw today of Jim Hiller's. Oh, I wish I could remember it, but it was almost taking some blame for what occurred. We'll never, that video review will forever live in infamy.
Yeah.
And I think it impacted everybody else in the league after that, including the Oilers on that Warren Foegele goal. I think a lot of people, including Calvin Pickard, thought, why aren't we reviewing this? Why aren't we challenging? But at 2-0, the Oilers are like, let's hang tight. We got lots of game to go here. So it is challenging, and I love what Drew Doughty said. People talk about a rivalry. He goes, it's not a rivalry, and I'm paraphrasing, until we stop getting beat or we win a series.
Yeah.
And that's kind of efficiently spoken and true. So there is a part of me that feels, I'm happy the Oilers won. I'm not lying, but I'm sad for any organization who plays the same team 4 straight seasons in the first round and loses time after time after time after time.
Yeah, well, it's like the Oilers against the Dallas Stars from 1998 to really 2003 with 1 year off in between. Now, there was no salary cap, and that was kind of David Goliath a little bit, and they had the great Cinderella run, but they just couldn't compete. And honestly, when I look at LA at the end of the day, when Edmonton has now won what 24 games right? 16. Terrible math.
Yeah.
What am I, Rashog here for a second? Okay. But 16 and the LA Kings have won. What do they win? 3, 4, 8. Like, it's 16-8. They can't outscore them. They've changed the goalie every year. They thought they had and everyone's like, oh, it's the goalie. It's not the goalie, because the Oilers find ways to beat them because the Kings play too passive.
Yeah, It's tough. You're up 2-0 in the series, so you're like, we're going to keep this going. And we saw game 2 was the most lopsided one, where Edmonton got to 3-2, and then I think it was Adrian Kempe made it 4-2, and away they went. So that was the one game that wasn't close. Game 1, if it wasn't for that weird knuckle puck, they go to overtime and you see what happens. You know, I would say this, Jason, and it was 5 games last year. It's been 7, it's been 6, it's 6. There's just a continual margin of difference between the two that doesn't seem to close no matter what. And so I don't know. I mean, they're a highly talented team, great leaders, theoretically a goalie, from Saskatoon who had a wonderful year, and you're more than comfortable. There was a small part of me that wondered whether David Riddick might come out for period number 3 last night, but it didn't matter in the sense the Oilers, until they scored. There was no Kemper wasn't a factor, I guess, theoretically in allowing goals early to make it 6-3 and it being over at that point. So I don't know. You go back to the drawing board and what you end up drawing up is the same result, if not the same process. So LA will have to look long and hard at how they're going to continue to build their team. They have a lot of UFAs. Kopitar and Doughty are a year older. That isn't, and they're great players still, but that's another set of mileage on them going into theoretically a year from now back in a playoff series. And the thing is, I would say, I don't know, Jason, but gosh, if LA had played somebody else in the first round, they might have been good enough to beat them if somehow they ended up somewhere else. But it's just so difficult with Vegas seemingly, kind of having that success of being first. So then it's Edmonton and LA that are jostling. You're second, I'm second. You're third, I'm third. So I don't know. I mean, there's no way to think that this might not be the case again next year. Kick off a postseason with a 5th straight opening round between the two.
Yeah, wow, it'd be great. Quickly looking ahead to Vegas, what are you expecting in that series?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a blast. Oiler fans are, I think over the years since 2018, I guess they came in. I'm trying to think here, 17, 18. It's become the number one stop for Oiler fans, and I'm not sure that the exchange rate will stop them from going again. I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a long series. I think that the goaltending, and whether it's Calvin Pickard who continues all the way or a combination with Stuart Skinner, that's a pretty close matchup with Aiden Hill, a different defense, bigger, stronger than I think the Kings defense. But I still look at the workhorses up front. It'll be a great 1 versus 2, right, from 2015, Eichel and McDavid. So I think it's going to be a great series, a long series. I'm going to pick the Oilers in 7.
7. Well, Gino, I love that the hair. You kind of lied to us last time you were on there.
I know. Sorry, buddy. I'm still not sure.
Yeah, you said you were going to cut it, but now you're superstitious, Gene. You probably can cut it.
I don't know what I'm going to do, because I said that to someone today. If I cut my hair and the Oilers lose this round,
well, it has no impact. I'm just going to give you a heads up.
I know, but
it has no impact.
I'm. Are you sure?
Yeah, I know.
Analytics for that?
I can. Yeah, there are analytics for 100%. Yes, 100%. But you know what, Gene? You know what? I can also guarantee 100% that the next time you're in the moss pit, you could sneak in a beer in your hair.
You know what? You might be right. I think I could sneak one in there in the back.
Yes, I totally agree. Awesome, man. Have yourself a great day.
Yeah, you too, boys. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend.
Take care. That is Mean Gene Principe. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions on a busy Friday edition of the Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Work hard, get dirty, build better communities. If that sounds like a good day's work to you, GS Construction wants you to be part of their team. Right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men and pipe layers for underground sewer and water work. So if you know your way around a trench, take pride in doing the job right, and want to be part of a crew that has your back, let's get to work together. Apply now at gsconstruction.ca.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing, taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's 2 things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
weeds. They're inevitable. Trust Green Drop with 100% guaranteed programs, including drought fighter and disease control at no extra cost. Book now and get 10% early bird savings.
Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Visit greendrop.com.
Tim's Smile Cookie is here, and every bite makes your community every bite better. Because 100% of proceeds are donated to local charities and community groups. Head to Tim's for Smile Cookies from April 28th to May 4th.
Vision Credit Union. We've been around a long time. In fact, we've been serving rural Alberta communities for 75 years. We launched in 1950 with $128, 21 members, and a mission to help our communities. It's still our mission today. That's why we return 75% of Vision's profits to members, offer full-service banking in underserved rural communities, and prioritize contributing to charitable causes in our hometowns. We're here for good. VisionCU.ca.
At Sherwood Honda, you'll find the true north traits Canadians are known for. Friendly? Check. Reliable? Check. Canadian made? Here's how you check. If the first digit on the VIN number is a 2, that Honda was made here in Canada, like the Honda Civic, CR-V, and CR-V Hybrid. Sherwood Honda has a whole lot of 2s for you to choose, a whole lot of spirit, and a whole lot of reasons your heart sure would be glowing when you pay them a visit.
Service that goes the distance, just like your cart should. Keep your golf cart running at its best with expert service from the golf cart people. From regular maintenance to upgrades like LED lighting, lift kits, or sound systems, our certified techs bring experience and attention to detail using genuine parts for a smooth, reliable ride. Whether you're boosting performance or just need a tune-up, trust the team Alberta has counted on since 1997. The Golf Cart People. Book now at golfcartpeople.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's a Friday rolling right along. Hope you are having an awesome Friday. Big news in the basketball world. But Greg Popovich no longer going to be obviously he's had some health issues lately, but man, that guy had an unbelievable career. Definitely will go down as one of the greatest coaches in the NBA and really one of the greatest coaches of all time. One thing I always respect about Popovich, he wasn't afraid to stand up and voice his displeasure at things sometimes outside of sports. I think every now and then, he didn't do it often, but every now and then, I think when it's important, it's a good thing to do. We'll see. 448, the Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight, Lotto Max, $70 million and 10 max millions up for grabs. PlayAlberta.ca. Get your tickets today. Ooh, mama. God, I hope one of you win. And just remember the deal. You host a party, we get come. Okay? It's fair. That'd be unbelievable. What would you bring, though? If someone hosts the party, they just won 70 mil. Like, what gift do you bring them? Like, I don't like showing up without something. Like, I got to bring them something. I don't know what. It would probably be very simple. Something kind of neat. I'd have to be funny, but because at that point, you're like, well, what do you really need?
More lottery tickets?
No, I wouldn't do that. They wouldn't want that. Probably, like the one thing you can't really gift is time. So maybe, you just, who knows, but it'd be a good problem. Be a good problem to have.
Maybe something homemade.
Yes, that's, you know what? Oh, I just, my classic chocolate cake with ice.
Yeah, I was going to say a dip, maybe.
Tell you that right now.
I'd be like, well, everybody else is faking, trying to think of something nice to give you. Here's a box of scratch tickets. I hope you win more money.
Yeah, but it's work. The cake
I'll have a guy to scratch.
Yeah, I guess
just 170 million.
Yeah, you'll be my scratcher, official scratcher from now on. Oof. Let's get to 5 questions, brought to you by The Brick. The 5-day deals are on now. Mattresses only $89. Desks and coffee tables starting at $99, up to 60% off clearance furniture, and free all beef hot dogs and pop tomorrow from Saturday until noon at The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
I think I got Saturday until noon. No, noon to 4. Noon to 4. That was terrible. Saturday until noon. No, noon to 4.
Pivotal information. Question number 1 for you guys. If you had to rank Oilers MVPs, you know, there's been some fun storylines for this team. Let's say 1 through 3. What would your list look like?
I'd love to be sassy and say Connor Brown and Janmark goated. But if we're being realistic here, you can't underestimate what Connor and Leon have done. And also Pickard.
Yeah, it would be... Like the key thing was like the last 2 games, like the Oilers, I gotta have a depth guy in there. So I'm gonna go with Connor Brown. When he had his best game of his career as an Oiler, according to his captain. So I'll go with Brown, McDavid, and Pickard.
All right, question number 2. Now, it's 4 straight years the LA Kings have failed to the Oilers in the postseason. When it comes to their offseason, what do you think they should do? What do you think they will do?
Oof. Well, they should burn any video that suggests they're not going to forecheck. Like my whole thing was, guys, I'm going to write it on. You know how Bart Simpson always used to have to write the things I would just write, we will forecheck, we will forecheck, we will forecheck. And over, I put it up on the wall. When you walk into training camp next day, I send the players home with a little package so they know we're going to forecheck. Because not forechecking, you know what that gets you? A first-round playoff exit 4 years in a row. And that's why I found it comic. And trust me, I'll be ripping on butts when he comes. All these guys are, I love LA. I'm like, how can you love a team that doesn't forecheck against a team who their biggest struggle is against teams who forecheck? That's a fact. And you chose not to do it? Ridiculous.
Is that a Hiller strategy? Or is that a larger Kings thing?
Well, obviously the management allows it. But it's been prior to Hiller. He was on the assistant. So, yeah, it's their whole philosophy. And I know they won with great defense. Yeah, back in 2012 and 14. It's like 11 years ago, right? It's like when your buddy still is wearing a mullet and he's single and he's like, well, yeah, but I picked up some girls in high school wearing it. Yeah, now you're 40. It's not really working.
You haven't looked at the moss pit, Gregor. The mullet is in full force.
Not the mullets, not the mullets of the 80s.
Well, I don't know. I saw a lot of blades and mullets in the moss pit that looked like it was running.
Like I know they're short, but that doesn't go that long. Like I'm talking a legit one, like Billy Ray Cyrus. That's a mullet.
Some of these punk ass kids, Gregor, they have mullets.
I'll respect that then. But they're the kids, though.
Yeah.
Right. You ask any 45-year-old women if they saw a 45-year-old man wearing a mullet today, and be like, "Ooh, thought that was hot at 18. I think it's hot now." I don't think so.
I think 45-year-old people could part the moss pit like Moses if they walked through, because all the moss pit kids would be like, "What are these?"
That's probably true.
Did you have an answer, Wanye?
I think they have to change their approach. Like, I just don't think that it's a personnel on the ice situation. I think like this 5 abreast at the blue line, this isn't it. It's like when Minnesota used to play smothering defense. LA can't pull it off quite as well. I think they need new coaching.
I say win the division or finish in a wild card and avoid the Oilers somehow. Question number 3 for you guys. Still waiting on the Jets, Blues, and Avs Star Series to wrap up to see what it's going to be in round 2. So I want to ask you this, kind of a 2-parter. Who do you think will win, and who do you think would be the most entertaining series?
I have a soft spot in my heart for the Jets. I think it's like Edmonton light. So I'd love to see them advance.
And if they win, they could get an airport.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's the drafts. There's wind currents.
Oh, that's true. It's tough. Honestly, Edmonton Vegas, I think is going to be a really good series. I think the Toronto Florida series is going to be fascinating to watch, because I think Florida is really going to try to intimidate the Stars of Toronto. We're going to see if they want to win. Can they play hard hockey? Can they match the intensity and the work ethic of Florida. But I will say this. A rematch of Winnipeg, Colorado from last year. Ooh, that would be juicy.
Question number 4, Kentucky Derby tomorrow afternoon. Are you a fan of the event? And who's your pick to win the race?
Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know much about horse racing, Connor, but I like to look at the celebrity pictures the next day at all the outfits with all the hats and everyone with their mint juleps. I think it's a lovely thing. It's not my shtick, but it's a real happening. So I respect the Kentucky Derby, but I don't know anything about it.
Oh, but it's a place I'd love to go. Right. I'm telling you, when you go to the track here in Edmonton, I love it. Right.
Love suits.
Oh, you get dressed up. You got the hat on, man. Oh, for sure. Like there's certain events I don't like dressing up for, but that one, oh, I'm all for it. So do I have I always kind of like the, I usually just go off of color a little bit, but this year I'm just going to go off of name, and I'm going to go off the Final Gambit. So that's who I'm going for, is Final Gambit.
Good name.
Cons, what about you?
I like the name Chunk of Gold.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a long shot. And Owen Almighty.
Oh, I thought you were going to take Owen Almighty. I was thinking about journalism.
There's a horse
named journalism. It's one of the favorites too.
Yeah.
Thought about it. I don't mind that. So Sandman and journalism are the two favorites.
Sandman's sick name too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Final question for you guys today is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's 53rd birthday. This guy does everything. Of all the things he does, what is your favorite?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not a big wrestling guy, Connor, just like the Kentucky Derby, but I'm starting to watch WWE highlights with Wanye Jr., who's 4. If there's 2 things I know about a 4-year-old, they love John Cena and they love The Rock. And when he watches The Rock, I literally watched him trying to do the people's eyebrow the first time he saw The Rock do it. So I'm going to have to shout out The Rock's WWE career because it stands up and little kids love The Rock. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably, I think that's totally fair. So honestly, like when you look at, he's done a lot of different movies for sure. You know, at first he's like, I'm a big guy. So, you know, then he's gone into, he's kind of a little bit like Schwarzenegger, you know, when Schwarzenegger did Kindergarten Cop, and now he's transferred into that. Moana, he's the voice at. But The Rock, to me, like the early days of The Rock, when he had the eyebrow raise, that to me was like, he was, listen here, jabroni, like just how he spoke, that personality was the best time of The Rock for me.
When you bring the guitar out and sing to the crowd, that was so funny.
Oh, just how he said jabroni was hilarious. So, yeah, I'll probably go with that. Cons?
Yeah, that era when he'd ask them a question and then he'd be like, it doesn't matter what they
Yeah.
did. Like,
Well, but it was how he delivered it, right? Right? Hey, Wanye, and just as he's about to, it doesn't matter. Like how he said it was so awesome. Like, and it's such a good, like, it's a chirp, but it's not like, you know, it's not rude. It's not lowbrow. It's just so funny how, you know, your person gets, oh yeah, I'm going to give you that. It doesn't matter. It was so, like, I remember for a while you do that with your buddies. It's so funny. Like that's a great memory. That's a great call. That was probably, you know, his best. Like that might be my favorite delivery line of his, right? Like I know he had the people's elbow and stuff. I didn't really love that move, to be honest, but it doesn't matter was the best part. Oh, God.
It was also cool. Again, I'm just learning about wrestling, but The Rock did a lot of shows. He didn't just do the big events. So he would go to like the smaller events and put on a show for the crowd. Oh, you got to respect the gamesmanship.
Yeah. Well, there's someone understanding, man. Like that's how you build a massive loyal following. 100%. Now it's easy to always just want to be the big dog and do the big events. But when you go around and you treat everybody and every show the same, the fans that are the dire, they appreciate that. They're like, man, I saw him in a small little venue and in Illinois. And, you know, he was just as awesome as he was when he was on WrestleMania.
I remember when Tiger got into the PGA, he said he was going to play. His goal was to play every single event in the PGA calendar at least once. And I thought that was like a cool thing because some of the events aren't really that well attended. The Quad City Classic, that sort of thing. But you get a lot of fans if you show up to those smaller tournaments.
I could, you know what? We got a lot of you people texting in pictures from them at the Derby. Sick. The next Sham sent us one. He was at the last year's Breeders. And hey, Gregor, Final Gambit has a chance. Well, yeah. I love that chess movie too. It's pretty good. So nice. Let's take a quick break. Positive Friday. In the final hour, though, actually on Monday, we're going to do something a little bit different than we don't do. I'd like to do it every now and then. Everybody likes to text, but I think we're going to have like an open hour of phone calls on Monday's show, previewing. Now, or Monday or Tuesday, whichever day the game is, we're going to have an hour of like calls. Get everybody fired up, talking about the series, what you like, what concerns you. Text is one thing, but I want to hear it from the fans. So we'll do that. The phone number is the same as the text line, 833-401-1440. So come prepared, be ready. Okay, you got a weekend. Prepare yourself. Okay? As Jim Rome would say, don't suck. Awesome. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Truck month, they're killing it. Continues on right now at GMC. You can finance for 72 months a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Pro Graphite. Sounds like a sick stick. Get them the truck version, gmccanada.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers have signed defenseman Alec Regula to a 2-year, 2-way contract extension. The 24-year-old was claimed off waivers from Boston last December. On the ice tonight, you got the Blues and Jets meeting in St. Louis. Winnipeg leading that series 3-2. The New York Rangers have found their next head coach, hiring Mike Sullivan, formerly of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Those two sides parted after 10 seasons on Monday. In the association, the Golden State Warriors can wrap their series with the Houston Rockets, leading 3-2. That gets going at 7 o'clock from the Chase Center in San Francisco. And Major League Baseball today, the Jays kicking off a weekend set against the Cleveland Guardians. First pitch set for 5:07. Also the Dodgers, Braves, White Sox, Astros, the Cubbies in Milwaukee, and the Giants taking on the Rockies. Edmonton Elks making a few moves with the rookie camp coming up next week, signing American quarterback William McClavin. Also releasing Jared Dagey, Daniel Joseph, Jacob Taylor, Jeremy Smith, and a 2023 West Division Rookie of the Year cornerback Kai Gray. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Craig Button from the NHL on TSN. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadians for $5.25. OTR's TVs, hey, they're so clear you'll see the puck better than the ref.
That ain't hard, is it?
And every game night during Edmonton's playoff run, specials start 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocksyeg.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Legend has foretold of a smoothie so delicious and refreshing that it could quench the thirst of a fire-breathing dragon.
But it's also a great pick-me-up after a workout. The new Dragon Slayer smoothie from Booster Juice, a legendary blend of dragon fruit and mangoes, destined to be your next obsession. Try it today along with the new Dragon Booster Ball and the Pink Dragon Booster Mixer.
3 epic menu items to conquer your cravings. Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Blue Jays baseball is back on Sports 1440. This Saturday and Sunday, listen live to the broadcast of Canada's favorite team. Proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball. We are Sports 1440.
Hey, Alberta, the all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At Sherwood Honda, you'll find the true north traits Canadians are known for. Friendly? Check. Reliable? Check. Canadian made? Here's how you check. If the first digit on the VIN number is a 2, that Honda was made here in Canada, like the Honda Civic, CR-V, and CR-V Hybrid. Sherwood Honda has a whole lot of 2s for you to choose, a whole lot of spirit, and a whole lot of reasons your heart sure would be glowing when you pay them a visit.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanya Gretz, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely day. Positive Friday, man. Like the weather was unreal. Like I forced the dog to go for a walk with me just because I got to get out there, man. We get that first day of 20 degrees. It just feels like, whoo, right? Hey, if you want, like tonight it's Friday night. If you're in a committed relationship, hot outside, this should be guaranteed get you in the mood. Temperature like that does. Just telling you, automatic. Sit on the deck. You got some barbecue. Automatically, ladies, I'll tell you right now, your husband's barbecuing. So right now he's wearing sweats for sure. That excited about it. Who doesn't like the first barbecue of the year, man? You're just pumped. Like I don't know. Do you like barbecuing, Wanya?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's one of those things. I don't know why. You just, you lift up. There's just something about barbecuing. Like you can make whatever in the house, in the oven, on the stovetop, but I don't know. Barbecue's just different.
I barbecue in the winter.
Where's your barbecue? On the back deck?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, like not when it's minus 30. Like,
no, but
yeah,
if it's
minus
minus 10,
5, sure.
fine.
I do it a few times, but I'm not as comfortable. Like I'm not staying because the great part of it, because then you go in and then you go back out. You go in and you go back out. I doubt you're standing out there the whole time, right? So the best part of the barbecue is you just kind of, you're out there, you're looking over your barbecue. You might have a beverage in one hand. It's just like, this is living. Something I know it's very simple, but it's living. It's
the first nice day of the spring, if it's like 8 degrees, you think about that same temperature in the fall.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, it's 8 degrees. I got to watch out. That first spring day when you come outside and feel the sun hit your skin, that 8 degrees might as well be 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Tarps on.
Oh, it's true. 100%. Oh, buddy, you get the tarps off now. Ladies, what's happening? Why not? Do it. Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province, boys and girls. Just think as you make your way down 104th Avenue, maybe you can help spur that on so it won't take your lifetime to be finished. Oh, it is serenity now. You got to get yourself prepared to drive downtown right now. There's a lot of places they just got to you got to be pretty calm because otherwise you're going to be losing it. For those people who drive downtown every day, I give you the utmost credit because this is a test of your character, as I like to say to my son. When something goes, I'm like, son, it's a test of your character. See how you handle it.
Remember Western Cycle? Remember that store?
Yeah, right on 100, like by 156th Street, give or take.
No, like 124th and Stony.
Oh, is that where it was? Okay.
They had the
the
neon sign of the guy on the bike for years.
Right. Yeah.
That corner doesn't exist anymore. The road is gone. The buildings are gone. They're putting in an LRT. And that's what I was late today getting in here.
Like, how long is that supposed to go on? Anybody know? Like, are we talking 5 years?
It'll be a lot, probably.
Wow. How many people are going to ride that LRT? That'd be a good question. I don't know the answer. I hope it works. In other cities, I love riding the tube. First time I went to London, I was like, this is amazing. Now you're also going down the steepest escalator of all time, and you're going down I'm like, is this thing ever ending? God, all of a sudden there's like some orcs going to come out of the ground here. It was nuts.
Think how much longer it takes to build an underground subway.
Touche.
Have you ever heard of the Big Dig in Boston? They tried to take all the city's freeways and put them underground to get rid of traffic. And it was like 30-year project or some crazy junk. It was one of the biggest infrastructure projects of all time.
If it went underground, wouldn't the traffic just be underground?
But the surface level traffic, now there's parks, like the roads are going.
Okay.
So they took all the city's freeways and put them underground. Think about a project that is.
And it worked?
For the most part, it just took a lot of time.
In Boston?
Yeah. Big dig.
I've never been to Boston. I've never been to Boston. That's a city I got to go to. Just now I want to go for the underground dig. Let's find out about Mark Spector, because now he could actually rent a car to go there. Now that he has upgraded his driver's license, we get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. All they want to do is wish the Oilers good luck in round number 2 from the staff at GS Construction. Mark Spector joins us. Spec, have you been wheeling around the underground tunnels in Boston?
I've never rented a car in Boston, as a matter of fact. Boston's not a town where you need a car. It's a great walking town. It's an unbelievably great city. Yeah. And sometimes we stay near the rink, near the whatever it's called, the TD Garden. Yeah. And they practice at Boston University. And it's like an hour walk for sure. And Daniel Nugent-Bowman and I will just leave an hour and a half early and walk all the way there because you pass all kinds of crazy stuff in Boston, man. It's I couldn't recommend it higher for people who want to go watch the Oilers play on the road somewhere. Go to Boston. Fantastic city.
All right. Now, the Edmonton Oilers will be going to Vegas. We're just a matter of when they're going to leave. Are they going to leave Sunday if they play Monday? Are they going to leave Monday if they play Tuesday? We'll wait and see for the schedule. There's lots of different factors here, TV for both Canada and the US. And there might even be like an NBA potential connection to that because ESPN obviously is carrying the NHL and NBA. So, that impacts some things. Obviously, like if Winnipeg wins, now there's 3 out of the 4 series will have a Canadian team in it, which is great. So the odds for Canada went from 5 out of 16 to 3 out of 8 if Winnipeg gets in. So we'll see. But Spec, it was like a complete opposite game last night after just a devastatingly efficient defensive game in 5 for the Oilers. They were like, you know what, boys? We're going old school. And it was goal, giveaway, goal, giveaway, goal, giveaway for everybody in the first period. It was crazy.
Yeah, I found the series was interesting the way it started out. The first 2 games were largely played on LA's terms until Connor McDavid went wild in the last, whatever it was, right? 12 minutes, got all those goals. But generally, LA got that series, the first 2 games played the way they wanted to play. It was low event hockey. They played with their structure. Then it came to Edmonton and a few things started to go wrong and the score started to go up, right? The second game, what was game 3? 7-4. So that wasn't great for the Kings. And then that third game, they had it in control and they got it back going their way and they had it back to structure and then it fell apart for them. And they gave up a 3-1 lead in the third. And, I don't think they ever got their game back. After that game 4, it was really, the Oilers owned game 5. They just owned every minute of it. They were the better team. They came back in game 6, and I'm not going to tell you they owned the whole game, but that was fire wagon hockey. I don't even think the Oilers love playing that way, but I'll tell you who does not draw up a game plan to play the way game 6 went was the LA Kings. It was a furthest thing from the way they want to play. They lost control of that series, Jay, like they do every year. Yeah. And Edmonton won going away like they do every year.
So now we move ahead to Vegas. And I'm telling you, whatever you were used to against LA, erase it because they play a completely different game. They forecheck hard. There's going to be way more scrums. Like I asked our listeners earlier, was there one LA King that you didn't like? And there's none. Like there's no, like there was like, I know maybe like Dowdy, but that's just, and even then no one could really come up with a name because there really wasn't a lot of animosity in this series. That's going to change against Vegas. The Oilers are built to match it, but so is Vegas. Vegas, I will say this, Spec. People are going to come in and you're going to watch everybody. Oh, Vegas got a way better defense. Their system and the amount of chances they've given up here does not match that theory anymore. Vegas is not the defensive stalwart who won the cup in 2023. Up until, because I haven't looked at it after game 6, but prior to game 6, their goalie had the worst expected save percentage of anybody. Now, he didn't have it, but the team, because they were just giving up chance after chance to Minnesota.
Right. So Aiden Hill, from the outside, you go, man, Aiden Hill didn't have a great series. And you say the same thing about Vasilevsky. And then you start looking at the situation and you realize Aiden Hill had one of the worst environments for a goaltender to play in. So, of course, he wasn't that great. And that takes me to Stu Skinner. You know, Stu Skinner wasn't great this year, and he had a terrible environment. The Oilers were a very poor defensive team. Like they were giving up a lot of big gaffes. And in the first 2 games of the LA series, it wasn't a very good environment. And we all said, man, get Stu Skinner out of there and get Pickard in. And Pickard was the recipient of at the most part, a much better defensive effort from his team. And I will say this, like last night at the end of that game, they needed saves. You know, Pickard gave him a couple of giant saves at the end. He stopped 2 breakaways. He stopped Dano on the 2-on-1. But, you know, it is I think we're learning this, Jay. It's hand in hand. The shooters today are so good. The puck goes so fast. You can't judge a goalie behind a defense that's letting Adrian Kempe walk in from the bottom of the circle and wire wrist shots with a whole bunch of time. Like, to me, that's never going to be on the goalie. Sorry. And we're learning that about the Oilers, right? When they give their goalies a good environment, Cal Pickard can win 4 in a row for you.
Yeah. You look at Edmonton, and I won't be surprised if at some point in the series we see Stu Skinner. I think we're going to see Troy Stetcher in this series at some point, just because of how Vegas forechecks. And the other big difference is we saw Edmonton, like they came up from watching video with that set play off of the faceoff that led to the Bouchard goal in game 4, right? That was a design set play. It wasn't just, that's something that they watched. They picked up a tendency of the Kings and they expose it. Now, LA's penalty kill spec, very aggressive, right? And you had to work to get, and Edmonton figured it out. They went 38%. Vegas is different. They're like an old school, we just like to block shots. They don't really pressure you. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how Edmonton breaks down that one. Because historically, Edmonton's been pretty good at that as a, you know, Glenn Gulletson and their team, obviously. But when I look at that, the biggest difference will be on the power play. And Edmonton's power play has been great against LA. But can they have a similar success against the much more passive penalty kill that likes to basically just pack the house and block shots?
I think I prefer, like if I'm an Oilers fan or coach or whatever, I think I prefer a passive penalty kill. Like I thought, you know, I like Connor McDavid said, we don't, against LA, you were standing next to me, I think, when he said it, we don't get to have a ton of zone time. And we don't pass it and pass it and pass it and pass it. Against LA, you got to make some quick passes and then you get a really good chance at the end of it, but you got to execute 3 or 4 passes and you don't get the zone time. In my experience, and tell me if I'm wrong, watching the Oilers getting zone time in a power play, they tend to wear down the opposition. They tend to be able to just compress, and work the puck till there is a grade A, till Draisaitl's in his office, till Hyman's in the low slot, right? Till New just firing a wrist shot coming off the wall. Like if I'm designing a PK to go against Edmonton, I'm not a coach, but I watch them 82 times a year. I like the Kings PK. It's chancy and it's aggressive and it's a bit of a gamble, but I prefer it than a passive one. What do you think?
Well, you can find the lane on it, but Florida did it. They really shut down Edmonton. I think Edmonton learned from that, right? Like Florida had a lot of success with their aggressive penalty kill on you. I still think Edmonton, I'm a big believer in time and space. And if you give McDavid and Draisaitl time and space, they'll figure it out. So that's kind of where I would lean to on that one. The other one is just, you know, how do you think Edmonton, because historically teams that give Edmonton trouble are teams who forecheck hard. You think Edmonton is better suited to handle the forecheck as a group? And is that why I think I might see Stetcher in there a few games for Klingberg? We'll see.
Well, for Klingberg, I don't know. Klingberg been moving a puck pretty sharply lately.
Yeah, but under no pressure. Like, no, it's not
no pressure. Yes. No pressure. Yeah, I know. It's a different environment. It's another time to use that word. It's a different environment when you're playing against Vegas because they got big forwards, man. Guys like Kolasar coming at you. like you can hear him coming. Holy man. So, I would say to you that I want to get if I'm Knobloch and Coffey and Mark Stewart, I want to get Stetcher in a game here. I want to get him involved. I think I can afford to take Emberson out. He's only playing 8-9 minutes. I probably could swap Stetcher out and get him in a game and see what I think. But either way, we're talking about a 6 defenseman here. Either way, I think they're still built to play sort of 5 guys more often. Wallman has turned into he's given them really good minutes. Kulak is playing so well. And Klingberg's been a nice surprise. Let's see how it goes against Vegas. I hear you on that one. But so far, so good with Klingberg. And Nurse and Bouchard are going to play all night because they're your best 2 guys, and that's just how it's going to be. So, they haven't played, to my eye, Jay, they've always played Vegas well. They've played lots of low-scoring, hard, tough hockey games in Vegas, and they win their share in Vegas. Like, I've covered all kinds of wins there.
Yeah,
So
they've actually got a good record in Vegas.
Yeah, so, the one thing you like about the Oilers, like I think that I like as an observer is I love the way they can go in and beat the Kings at their own game 3-1 and then come home and beat them 6-4. Like, I love a team that has more than one trick in its bag. And, the Oilers are that team. If you want to play 2-0 hockey, I mean, that's not what they want, but they can beat you 2-0 once in a while. Every year we see it. And if you want to play like last night's game, which was freaking wild, what a great game that was, they'll play you that way and beat you too. I think that gives me a little bit of, makes me feel like they can play with Vegas no matter how the game goes.
Spec, lastly, the NHL announces that this year's draft lottery is going to be, it's going to be live. The draw itself will be live for the viewers to see how it goes. Smart decision. I'm kind of like, what took so long?
Well, wait a second. They used to do it in the back room and then read and then do the cards, right?
Yeah.
So now they're just going to announce Bill Daly is just going to stick his hand in the hopper and pull the ball out.
It's a really good question, buddy.
Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah, basically, I don't know if it's just going to be one, but it might be one, right? Like the table has there's the 1,004-digit combination assigned to each team participating, right? And each ball is drawn, the odds change, and teams are eliminated. So basically, as one ball comes out, then now the next one goes in. So that's kind of how by the sounds of it, that's what's going to happen.
Listen, they got accounting firms. They'll figure it out. I was listening to you earlier, and I think that I don't agree with you on those penalties to the goalies last night. I thought that Arvidsson deserved 2 minutes when he hit Kemper.
Well, I never said it wasn't a penalty. I just said it was.
Hang on. Arvidsson deserved 2 minutes. Anderson absolutely deserved 2 minutes when he ran Pickard. Didn't get it. I thought Kemper I thought Arvidsson hit full on Kemper's head. If you got a concussion spotter in the building and he's not bringing that goalie out, you might as well just go get a cold beer and sit in the box and eat some chicken wings. Like, that was absolute head contact on Kemper to the 10th degree. And I thought when Pickard got run, it was more of a full body hit. He did get run, but it wasn't just his head.
Yeah.
No.
But I don't know. Like, not every hit means you go to the concussion spotter. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know if he was coming that hard there. And obviously he didn't have a concussion because he played the rest of the game. He never looked wobbly.
Well, okay. But I mean, that's not really the spirit of having a concussion spotter, right? Players are going to lie to you. We know that. They always have. So you watch the play. I mean, take a look at that replay. And I saw it last night on my computer, and he hit him in the head going full speed. It was major contact. I couldn't believe they didn't pull him out, but whatever. I guess I just questioned. Like, I always say this too, Jay. When a goalie takes a slapper off the mask, and they never take a guy out of a game for that, I always kind of wonder, what's a concussion spotter there for? Isn't that something you should look into?
Yeah. Well, the masks are built, though, to absorb contact, right? So that's a good question. I'll ask Woodley that on Monday, because I know they changed the design of the mask specifically for that pucks to the head aren't going to concuss you, obviously. Right?
Right. I really don't get the concussion spotters. We see so much head trauma in games that never, and that's it. Listen, if you don't want to have them, if you don't want to pull guys off, I can live with that too. Whatever. But the fact that the guy's there and he never gets to, we go game after game after game after game without a guy getting pulled off, and we see head contact all the time. I kind of wonder what the guy's actually doing. Maybe he's just like the E-Bug. He gets a free supper and he gets to watch the game for free.
Yeah, who knows? Spec, have a good weekend. Enjoy it. And we'll talk to you probably from Vegas.
Yes, sounds good.
There you go. It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Craig Button will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The month of May brings machines, mud, and for us, many an opportunity. We're GS Construction, and we love the warmer weather because it means we can get to work. But to keep things moving, we need the right people on our team. You built your skills, you know your work matters. Now's the time to bring that experience to a crew that gets it. We're hiring experienced top men and pipe layers. So if you're ready to dig in and be part of a team that has your back, apply now at gsconstruction.ca for this great opportunity.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing: taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's two things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
We've been waiting for this since preseason. It's playoff time, and Sports 1440 is your home for all things hockey. Kevin, Lowtide, Jason, and the pre- and post-game shows with Andrew. So many reasons why we're Edmonton's sports leader.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motosports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos, construction. Start planning right now at BashawConcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use promo code Gregor and get 20% off your order all day, every day. That's promo code Gregor before entering your order at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5:29, positive Friday. Your week, it's probably over for most of you. You're making your way home. It's awesome. The weather's great. Maybe you're barbecuing, going out for dinner, just relaxing, no stress. Because your team, the Oilers, they're through to the second round. Jets fans, Blues fans, it's your turn for a little stressful Friday night hockey. Who isn't going to watch? So I love watching playoff hockey. It doesn't matter which teams are playing, man. I love it. So we got a little NHL tonight. We do have at least one Game 7. Thank you for one of the unluckiest/luckiest goals ever. For Colorado, you're like, this is awesome. If you're a Dallas fan, you're like, are you kidding me? That was awful. Sam Steele shoots it out, hits Blackwell's own player in the shoulder, deflects into the Dallas goal. Unreal. But Colorado gets the win. Now they'll go to Game 7. Nothing better in sports. Let's get to our playoff report brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Truck month continues on now. You get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on a 2025 Sierra HD model. See more at gmccanada.ca. It's Craig Button, former NHL GM, of course, won a cup with the Dallas Stars, ace analyst and scout with TSN. Joins us, Butts. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And, you talk about that game last night, the winning goal. It's a saying that's true, Jason. You watch enough games, you're going to see something for the first time. It's unbelievable. I was just talking to Barry Trotz, and he just said, can you believe that? You think about 4 goals that might have been lucky, and all of a sudden you got to a Game 7. It really is something when you think about some of the goals that find their ways into the net. Even if you go to Game 1 versus the Oilers and the Kings, the winning goal. How many times does that play end up in the net? Almost never. Boom, it's a winning goal.
Yeah, it is. That's what makes the playoffs great, but also heartbreaking at the same time if you're the team who gives it up. You know what? The Toronto Maple, let's start there. Toronto, Florida. Toronto gets by Ottawa. Florida gets by Tampa Bay. Maybe a little bit easier than a lot of us expected. Picking Florida to win, not a surprise. I don't see many thought they'd win in 5. Well, what do you make? The Leafs get by a team they should beat, and maybe it made it a little bit harder. I don't care if you win in 5, you win in 6, you still win. What do you make of Toronto against Florida, and how different of a series it'll be for the Maple Leafs?
Well, it's going to be a different series, and 2 years ago, they had a real tough time with the Florida Panthers, and then that was coming off their only series win in a number of years with this group of players. Brad Treliving has looked at the team and felt that, okay, these are the areas I got to build it. He's got a real good goaltender in Stolarz. I'm not so sure goaltending was ever an issue for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the blue line, to me, is a playoff blue line in Toronto. And there's different ways you can have success in the game and certainly come playoff time. But there's certain templates that are never going to change. And you need length on the blue line. You need players that can play heavy on the blue line. And they're going to shrink your space. And I think that Brad's done a nice job there. We know how good Matthews and Marner and Nylander and those guys are. I think the big advantage here, and I think it's a big advantage, is the third and fourth line of the Florida Panthers. I think that's where their edge is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're not going to have to go down to 3 lines. They're going to roll 4. Their blue line is every bit as good as Toronto's blue line, and that's going to be, I think, the challenge for Toronto. Can you grind it out against the third and fourth line? Because that's what good teams, that's what championship caliber teams have. The Florida Panthers, certainly, we all know they have that.
The Edmonton Oilers, Craig, it's the reason I picked the Oilers at the start of the series, because teams who don't forecheck Edmonton don't beat Edmonton. And the LA Kings, 4 years in a row, I am flabbergasted. They continue to play what I call just a ridiculous style. It does not work against Edmonton. Florida showed it. Teams who beat Edmonton forecheck them. And they're like, oh, hey, John Klingberg, Evan Bouchard, you guys want more time? No problem. It did not work. I don't understand it. Not to mention that, we can go to the review calls, whatever. But are you surprised at the bullheadedness of an organization to roll back the exact same strategy 4 years in a row?
Well, here's what I'll say. So for the first 2 periods of Game 1, all 3 periods of Game 2, the first 2 periods of Games 3 and 4, the LA Kings did exactly what you need to do to win. And they dominated the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers had nothing. They had nothing. And then they decided that they were going to play differently in the third period of Game 1. They got the lucky break on Deneau. In the third period of Game 3, in the third period of Game 4, and in the overtime. I'm watching the overtime in Game 4, and I'm going, does Jim Hiller know they need to score a goal to win the game? And because all that was happening, they're stretching and they're sitting back in their defense. Forget about neutral zone; they were defensive zone, not even touching the puck. So I think the LA Kings showed that they can play a real strong, effective game and neutralize an opponent, in this case the Edmonton Oilers. But then they stopped. Darcy Kemper, before Game 5, I thought he nailed it. He said, we're our best when we're forechecking. We've shown that in this series. And then we back off, and then we sit back, and that's not the way we can play. I think Jim Hiller was as important for the Edmonton Oilers' victory in this series as some of the key players for the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, if you're going to play so well and then you're going to change the way you play and sit back against the Oilers, you're hooped. And they got themselves hooped in a big way.
Well, and the fact that he shortened his bench so early and they look gassed, right? Like, and then when you look at how Clark and Spence played in Game 6 and how their fourth line played, I'm like, you couldn't have played your fourth line 9 minutes a night? I don't understand it.
Well, if you do understand it, please send me a note. I will make myself available to try to understand, because it makes no sense. And like the players know, the players don't go all of a sudden and start playing a style of game on their own. They don't go rogue. They did exactly what the coach wanted them to do. We saw him get combative with the press. Fair questions, fair and calm questioning. Nobody was attacking them. They're asking, what you're thinking when this happens. And bottom line is, that was one of the most astonishingly poor coaching jobs I've seen in the playoffs in a long time.
Do you think A, Rob Blake is back, and B, does he make a coaching change?
Yeah, I mean, this is a team. I'll start with the coaching. This is a team that had 105 points. We're an excellent defensive team, and I think that you got to keep that in mind. I think that number one thing you got to sit down with the coach and go, what was the thinking behind our change in strategy? It wasn't like we had to change something because something wasn't working. What we were doing was working really well. Why did we change? And I think that's the first thing. Then you evaluate. Can the coach learn from that? This is Jim Hiller's first opportunity here. Can he learn from that? I don't think you need to be knee-jerk. I don't think you need to be rash. Now, as it comes to Rob Blake, I mean, it's hard work to be a general manager in the National Hockey League. And we have a team now that for 4 straight years, I think for Luc Robitaille and the senior management, you're sitting down with Rob. Okay, we had a good season. What do we need to do to push ourselves further? And to me, it becomes really simple. Do you have the faith that Rob Blake can execute it? And if you do, you carry forth with him if he wants. If you don't feel he does, then you got to make a change. And I really do think it's as simple as that. I don't have any inside knowledge or anything. I think I really like Rob Blake. I think that he's done some good work in there. But if he's reached his point of no return, you got to get a new GM.
The Vegas Golden Knights get by Minnesota, but in the process, their goaltender had the worst environment of any team. Like Vegas, they're great defense. Well, they weren't great defensively. Minnesota, Aiden Hill, even though he had a sub 900, he kept them in the game. They had an 864 expected save percentage. What did you make of Vegas and how much Minnesota was able to score on them? And when you consider how many goals Edmonton scored against Darcy Kemper, is this going to be a high-scoring series, Edmonton and Vegas?
Well, it could be. You got the firepower that Edmonton can throw at you. There's no question about it. I thought that after the first 3 games, I think that's when Vegas realized, we better get our act together here. We better be a lot better. I know it's easy for me to say from afar. It didn't look like they were really dialed in to taking Minnesota seriously. And then Minnesota got their attention. Sometimes that's what you need. You need an opponent to get your attention. I thought that Vegas certainly upped their game. They got the break in Game 4. Got the certainly find a way in game 5 they got the break. Certainly in Game 6 they played well. Sometimes in the playoffs you can't be complacent, and you can get complacent. And these types of series, it was hard. Minnesota pushed them hard. And look, if the Edmonton Oilers don't have the Vegas Golden Knights' attention now, then the Edmonton Oilers will find a way to win this. But this is a deep team. This is a deep team in Vegas. They're going to roll 4 lines. We know. I just talked about the blue line and the template that they have. They're going to have to be tighter. They're going to have to be tighter because what we saw from the Minnesota Wild was a team that could exploit opportunities. And it's not going to get easier for Vegas. And, we know that there's a familiarity between these two teams.
Craig Button from TSN joined us. And Edmonton's depth, Craig, I think a lot of people underrated it. You look at like game 5 and 6, Edmonton wins. They score 6 goals, 5-on-5. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard don't get a point 5-on-5. 6 different scores, 12 different guys getting points. Every one of their forwards has had at least a 14-goal season. Frederick is 1 at 18. Connor Brown's playing well. Like Edmonton's depth, did it surprise you how well it played?
Absolutely, it did. And when you get to a point, I mean, hey, McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard were unbelievable in games 1, 3, and 4. I mean, they were unbelievable. I said this, I'll be real quick here. I felt after game 4, if LA had kept playing like the way they had, and like when they were really going for long stretches, they could have been in sweep position. And conversely, the Edmonton Oilers could have been up 3-1. I mean, game 2 wasn't a great game for the Oilers, but they could have been up 3-1 going into game 5. So when you start to look at games 5 and 6, and you know that, and you know that it's only going to get harder. You need to rely on players to forecheck, to play heavy on the wall, to penalty kill. And I think the Oilers got exactly that. I mean, Connor Brown is a big-time competitor. And Connor Brown, we saw last year, once he got back to full health, he could be a real factor. Trent Frederick looks like he's skating now and comfortable playing that heavy game. Janmark's disruptive with his speed. Evander Kane back into the lineup. So certainly you get really good productive play from deeper down your lineup. That's going to help everybody, because now as an opponent, you're not just looking at 97 and 29. You're going, oh boy, we better be sharp here. And it forces coaches to make sure that they don't get into a spot where they're at a disadvantage. And that's what depth does. And depth is certainly necessary if you want to go deep in the playoffs.
Craig, if you're Chris Knobloch and he switched both, would you start this series with McDavid and Draisaitl together? Or the fact that it's 2 straight games where they haven't scored 5-on-5, would you keep them apart and load up and see if, Jack Eichel might go against one of them, but, Thomas Hertl, because he's there, do you need Draisaitl separate? What would you do?
Well, I would, based on what happened in games 5 and 6 with the depth, I'm comfortable starting 29 and 97 together, fully comfortable. And you get them playing together, you get them occupying some of the attention of the opponents. And I think that's a positive. And like if you hadn't had the scoring, if you hadn't had the contributions deeper down your lineup, you might, okay, listen, we can't just load up here. But they did get those contributions, which I think affords them the opportunity. What I would call is testing the waters, see how you can match up in that situation. Chris doesn't have to lock into something just because he starts one way. And I think that having the benefit of seeing some really good positive play from deeper down his lineup, I think it really helps.
Craig, where are you at? What game are you watching tonight?
I'm doing the broadcast for the U18 championship here in Dallas, Sweden and the USA.
Sweden and the USA.
Canada's in the gold medal game tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time against the winner of this game. So Canada's got a chance going back-to-back with gold.
How do you like Canada's chances in the gold medal game? Is there a better matchup for them amongst the two teams that are facing off tonight?
I don't think so. They were the number 1 seed coming into this at the end of the preliminary round. Jack Ivankovic is just an outstanding goaltender, and you start with a goaltender that has shown when I say no wobbles in his game, it has just been rock solid. He's a hell of a goalie. I think that starts there. They got a bunch of 17-year-old defensemen that have been awesome, and I think they got a really good balanced group. They got depth, and I don't see why they would be fearing either one of these teams. And I think that they're well positioned to go and try to go back-to-back. I mean, you get to a championship game, it's never easy, but I think Canada's chances are real strong.
Awesome. Craig, we'll be watching. Enjoy the game. Who are you taking Saturday night in Game 7?
You know what? Good question. No Heiskanen, no Robertson.
Yeah.
And I know that was a big thing, but one of the big things I've seen with the Colorado Avalanche is Lindgren and Sam Malinsky, and to an extent Sam Girard, I think it's a real area of concern if I'm Jared Bednar, because with not having last change, I think that affords Peter DeBoer a chance to really get his top players matched up against that group. And
okay.
I think that poses a problem. I'm picking Dallas.
Dallas. All right, Craig. Great stuff, buddy. Have yourself a great weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Yeah, be well. Take care.
Craig Button from TSN. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up, man. It's been a busy week. Lots happening. We'll wrap up the week. Look ahead to next week, Oilers and Vegas. Oh, there's going to be some animosity, baby. It's going to be great. You get a few days to cool down, relax, maybe have a pop, have a barbecue, toss the ball around, go for a walk. You're like Wanye, you'll be on Tinder, whatever you're doing, it'll be fun. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadians for $5.25. OTR's TVs, hey, they're so clear you'll see the puck better than the ref.
That ain't hard, is it?
And every game night during Edmonton's playoff run, specials start 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocksyeg.com.
Legend has foretold of a smoothie so delicious and refreshing that it could quench the thirst of a fire-breathing dragon.
But it's also a great pick-me-up after a workout. The new Dragon Slaya smoothie from Booster Juice, a legendary blend of dragon fruit and mangoes, destined to be your next obsession. Try it today along with the new Dragon Booster Ball and the Pink Dragon Booster Mixer.
3 epic menu items to conquer your cravings. Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
When you see big discounts on a vehicle, you think last year's model, right? Not at St. Albert Dodge. They are continuing to knock 10% off the sticker price of every single 2025 Ram 1500 truck on the lot. We're talking this year's model. Motor Trend's Truck of the Year with a hot new interior and drivetrain options with increased horsepower and better fuel economy. The 2025 Ram 1500, 10% off and over 100 to choose from. That's how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos Construction. Start planning right now at BashawConcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
It's Canadian Tire's Big Spring Tire Sale. Save up to 30% on quality brands like Michelin, Continental, and Motomaster until May 7th. Conditions apply. Details online.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWL. Get your power play amped up with EWL, supplying the city of champions in Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
547, Gregor. Wine and Gretz, Connor Halley with you, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hey, another thing that happened this week, the Jays remembered how to hit home runs. Starting to see a few big dingers from Vladdy and team, so that's a positive. Now, speaking of positive, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, of course, longtime journalist in town, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here's a 2-minute warning with Cam Tate.
stars, the systems, the strategy. Connor McDavid slicing through defenders like warm butter. Jack Eichel doing what Jack Eichel does. That's all coming, but not today. Today, I want to thank some folks who don't wear jerseys. They don't lace up skates. They've never taken a shift at Rogers Place, and they don't work for the Oilers. But they matter maybe more than we realize. I use DATS. Edmonton's dedicated accessible transit service. It gets me around the city. They won't let me drive. Still. You believe that one there, Gregor? It's known as DATS. I call it the cookie truck. After big Oilers wins, the crowds get wild, happy wild, a few too many celebratory beverages, kind of wild. I've sat in the DATS van by myself, waiting, ramp down, driver out helping someone else on board, and I've thought, what if someone jumps in? If it was indeed a woman, well, it would be one hell of a blind date. That fear's not far-fetched. Last year, someone did take over a DATS vehicle. Driver wasn't inside. I wasn't there either way, but I could have been. And with every game getting bigger, the city's only getting louder. More excitement, more people, more risk. Isn't that right there, Connor Halley? That's why what I saw Thursday night meant so much. 4 men, not on the sidewalk, just behind it, 3 feet apart, watching, calm, steady, arms folded, but ready in a moment's notice to help. I rolled up to them, smiled, and said, "Thank you." They nodded. Who were they? Edmonton Police Service officers. No fanfare, no big announcements, no 3 stars, just there, doing their job, making sure folks like me and every other fan had get home safe. They didn't score a goal, they didn't block a shot, but make no mistake, they made a difference. So yes, we call Edmonton the city of champions. And after what I saw after Game 6, we've earned that name in more ways than one. 2-minute warning with me, Tater Gregor Show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sports 1440.
Yeah, shout out to those drivers and everybody who helps out. I see Tater and I see a lot of them after every game, waiting patiently. So yeah, please don't have fun. And I always like, if you're going to make a mistake, try to keep it to 1s and 2s, not 9s and 10s. Stealing a DATS vehicle would probably be an 11.
That's a tough one when you wake up in the morning and you're piecing together your night and you're like, what did I do again? Oh, yeah. You stole a DATS bus.
Yeah.
There's a special escalator down below for you, my friend.
Would not be a good one. Would not be a good one. Wande's World, what's up, man? What's going on?
Well, what do you, you're watching the Kings get dealt with in 6, and you're looking ahead to the Las Vegas series. How do the Oilers need to adapt? Can they continue to roll, you think, the same strategies against the Kings against?
No, totally different game. It is, they forecheck way harder. Well, first of all, you can't turn the puck over and give up as many quality chances. Like, I don't think you can. Now, Edmonton's got good offense. And maybe I would make the argument, if you want to win 5-4, Edmonton can win 5-4 more often than Vegas. They got better offense top to bottom. So I guess you could play that way if you want. It's always a risk, for sure. I think Edmonton would. It's hard to match Game 5 because it was almost a perfect game. But they've had other stretches where you've shown that they can be good defensively. Like, they don't need to be great, but they can't be porous. So they're going to have to be ready for more. They're going to have to be better in their own zone because they're going to forecheck a lot more. And I'm going to be curious to see how some of the defenders handle it. That's going to be the one biggest difference. LA didn't forecheck barely at all. And so that'll be a big change. It's probably going to be a lot of 5-on-5. Neither of these teams take a lot of penalties. Neither of these teams get a lot. I know LA just got 20 power plays. So, they're like, Gregor, what are you talking about? But historically, Edmonton doesn't take a ton of penalties. And Vegas doesn't take many. They don't get many power plays. So I think this is going to be a 5-on-5 game. I'm curious to see, is it Draisaitl McDavid separate or together to start?
And for in net, are you rolling your starter till they lose, or how are you taking
Not necessarily how they lose. I think it's going to come down to how they play. I think both are going to be used at some point. I'll just say that. I think that's kind of Captain Easy, Captain Obvious. I think they're both going to play at some point.
D, are there any tweaks? Like you tweeted.
Spector, I think, is going to come in at some point. I think they'll probably start the same 6, but I think you're going to see Troy Spector at some point.
And our bearded Swedish Lord, he's not even due to come back.
No, Matthias Ekholm, no go for round 2. But later on, they're telling me there's a chance. So we'll see.
If he came back in the conference finals rested,
well, it would help. He's rehabbing. I talked to him about it. He's rehabbing. So, but he's being very cautious. On behalf of Wanya Gretz, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks for listening all week. Enjoy the weekend. Please do not drink and drive. Don't be inebriated. Get home safe. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring. You want to work for a great company? Go to legacyheating.ca. Great bonuses, hiring bonus, matching RSPs, and more. Legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Oilers have signed defenseman Alex Regula to a 2-year, 2-way contract extension. The 24-year-old was claimed off waivers from the Boston Bruins back in December, and the New York Rangers have announced the hiring of Mike Sullivan as their next head coach. On the ice tonight, you got the Blues and Jets meeting in St. Louis. Winnipeg leading that series 3-2. Puck drop in just over 10 minutes time. In the association, Warriors taking on the Rockets at 7. Golden State can wrap this one up as they lead 3-2. Off the court, basketball Hall of Famer Greg Popovich will no longer coach the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. Mitch Johnson, who was named acting head coach when Popovich suffered a mild stroke in November, now takes over on a permanent basis. In the majors, Toronto in action. In the bottom of the third, they trail the Guardians 1-0. Elsewhere, you got the Phillies and Diamondbacks tied at 1 apiece. Twins and Red Sox also tied at 1. Athletics have a 3-0 lead over the Marlins midway through the third, and the White Sox up on the Astros 1-0 heading into the second. Later tonight, Angels, Tigers, Mets in St. Louis, Brewers host the Cubs, and the Mariners taking on the Rangers. And from the CFL, the Edmonton Elks, a series of moves today ahead of their rookie camp. They signed American quarterback William McClavin, also releasing Jarrett Dagey, Daniel Joseph, Jacob Taylor, Jermaine Smith, and 2023 West Division Rookie of the Year, Kai Gray. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio all night. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with the Saturday Sports Setup, followed by the Basketball Show with Paul Sir. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.